Yeah, I can hear you now. Hear me now? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, boy. So, could it be magic now? No. Can hear you now, man. This is getting all. This is getting a bit technical. You're on a couch. What's going on? I can see your couch. I can see Devin's ceiling. It's all too much. Uh, cool. I think we're cooking then. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah, you're in the shot. It's good. It's good. Yeah. So, yeah. So I flicked.
Talking at the moment.
Yep.
Am I words beautiful?
Hey, 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 I think we are good and live. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're all well. I am just literally going to mute this. Welcome to episode 3 of Speak Friend. I'm joined tonight by Mr. Devin Moreno and some other dude called Damian. I'm not sure who he was. He was a last minute fill in. No, Damian from GBHL and SBG magazine. Obviously, everybody knows who he is. How are you guys doing?
Good man, yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Awesome.
good.
How's America?
America's, well, I'd like to say great, but I guess that's not really true. So,
Doesn't
um,
look ideal.
yeah, it's we're making it. So,
Cool. Right, I'm just checking that we are. Let's have a look. Yes, we are. We are live. Everybody can see us. Guys, if you're in the chat, if you could let us know that the sound and everything else is a-okay, that would be awesome.
Tanya, right?
Because it'd be
Tanya normally sorts out
it'd be a nightmare
audio
if
confirmations.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
But you've never had any audio trouble on the stream before, have you?
No, never. It always goes perfectly to plan. And we love it. So, Damien, you're sat very comfortably in your couch today.
I am, yeah.
It's
Well,
different.
It's a different show, isn't it? Yeah, different show. I thought I'd mix it up.
Well, what we'll do?
Due to the power of technology, I can swap it over. Just with a couple.
I quite like it. I quite like the relaxed Damien. It looks for a little bit of leg.
You should check out Ben's Thorin's company video. You get an hour and a half of me on a sofa. Good to know you watch your own content.
Did he get any bare leg like we're getting, or?
I think it's a good mix of the bland here. I like Damian on his couch.
Yeah. But Tifa's here as well. He's still here.
That's awesome. So, as everyone, if you've not been here before, this is just a show where I get together with different faces from in and around the SBG community, and I try and keep it a little bit international because it mixes it up. Devin, if you don't know who Devin is, would you like to introduce yourself, Devin? Let everyone know who you are, what you do, how much of a superstar you are.
So essentially, I run the DC Hobbit League, which is kind of part of this whole alliance across America that, basically I orchestrated a lot of the American scene and host the Nova Open tournament, which is kind of the largest tournament. Yeah, largest tournament in America. And, I travel a lot, so if you go to the British events, you'll probably see me once in a while. So,
I believe you've had the pleasure of sleeping on this very sofa, haven't you?
I did. I actually have slept on that very sofa. It's actually the reason I travel a lot. People think it's for the tournaments, but.
So it's got we'll touch on Nova in a few minutes because obviously that's a massive event over in the States. Which, Damien, you've had the pleasure, along with Mr. Giblin, James Clark, and that other guy that you sometimes sit on a couch with.
Absolutely. This is the obvious topic that I thought that connects me and Devin in a way that I was sure would come up at some point. But yeah, I had the great pleasure of going out there twice with the GBHL boys in 2015 and 2016, and then I went back on my own in 2018 and had a blast every time. It's an amazing event.
Awesome.
And I would heartily encourage, I'm sure Devin's going to be marketing it for an hour and a half, but I would heartily encourage anyone to make the trip over there. It's like nothing we have over here. And I genuinely mean that because of the scale of the convention.
Yeah, and you happened to come away with a trophy, did you, at one stage?
A few of them, mate. I did indeed. I managed to get. I managed to get on the first year. I managed to come second in the GT by. It was something like winning 5 out of my 6 games, and I lost to Tom Harrison. And the next year, I won all 6 of my games, and I lost to Tom Harrison. Like
you do.
It's just disgusting behaviour from Harrison. So yeah, managed to get second both times and win the doubles twice as well.
Yeah.
Once with Tom and once with Jamie.
That's awesome.
It's very, very cool, and all the Americans were very good natured about it. It was really brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. I remember when it was going on. I don't know how aware Devin, yourself or the Americans were the support that we were showing from the GBHL for the Brits. We were making videos and singing songs and all sorts.
You did the video, didn't you? You coordinated it.
You know what, the
Video's
Americans,
amazing, mate.
it was actually fantastic. I think that when the GBHL came twice, it really changed us quite a bit and unified us a lot, which I loved. Because before then, we were just sparse groups all around the country. Really, I felt like the GBHL podcast crew taught us how to play the game by coming over and are kicking our butts twice. We're like, all right, we really need to learn something about this. But all that camaraderie, plus, with the help of all the Facebook groups and everything that interconnects everyone, I think this has been fantastic for watching the GBHL root for the podcast, and now they do it for our own American team members. When we go to Articon.
Yeah, I look back at them times, and they were kind of like sort of I call them the good old days, really, like now, because it's totally changed now. Like the landscape of the community and the game itself has totally changed. We've got so many people creating content.
There's a photo of us at Heathrow. I'm sure it's the first year, and it's our shadows on the floor, and it's like the four of our shadows like on the floor. Just we got there at 6 a.m. or whatever, and it's hands down. It's just one of my favourite photos ever taken because it was so utterly surreal. I'm sure we'll talk about this like maybe tonight or something, but it was just utterly demented. When we're getting on why on earth am I getting on a plane with these three people? I remember the day after I woke up in Washington DC in a hotel room with Tom Harrison. And I was like, what the hell is happening? And it's quite it's quite normal now, particularly because of things like the ETC. But at the time I was like, this is absolutely normal.
Yeah,
it was just wonderful stuff.
It was all this over a hobby.
I know. It was great, even for us that were at home just watching what was happening over at Nova. I think it's credit to yourself, Devin, for the event that you put on. You don't get as much FaceTime on YouTube as you used to. We don't get those how to buy an army for under 10 pence anymore out like that. But
which I'll talk. The guy called? Was he the guy or the dude? Who's the?
No, that guy. That guy. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh man,
have you got plans to do some more content, or is like life just taken over? Because I know you're busy with you're doing a lot of real estate and things now, and refurbishments and things like that.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, I had a YouTube channel that back in the days when we thought the game was dead, it was part of the ones trying to hold the game together, and then that was the purpose of the channel, and I think it succeeded in doing that. I do actually want the channel to get back going. In fact, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit later on, but we're actually redoing the channel. We're making so we're kind of doing a podcast, but I'm also going to chime in there. I'm going to try to do the how to play, how to buy videos, which are very popular. The problem with those is I like to give advice based on practical experience, and some of these armies are so vast in the many different ways you can play them that I usually like to take them to tournaments. So everyone who knows me knows I never repeat an army for a tournament, or if I do repeat an army, it's a very different style of playing it.
Yeah.
But those will come in as as I keep attending tournaments. It's a little harder when the whole game revamped all at once, but I will be redoing the channel. I've been holding off on stating it just because what I told everyone was like, all right, I have this habit. Anyone who's seen my channel knows. I'll be like, yeah, we're gonna do like all these videos, and I'm gonna get back on it, and then crickets for 2 years. And so I didn't want to do that, and so I'm waiting until I have at least 10 videos just queued up.
Yeah.
And so it's 5 from the podcast, 5 from my individual, just me talking, and then they'll be released. And that's going to be done as of 2 weeks from now. So that's when you'll see my channel kind of revive itself.
So 2 weeks from now, we'll start seeing some videos and.
That's the plan. So we have it scheduled where we actually have a podcast where Matt Iverson, if many of you might know him.
Yeah.
Mick, actually, from the GBHL. Mick is on it, and Rainier Lee, all 4 of us, and Tim Hines, which is a New York player, who actually is setting it all up. I told him, I'm like, all right, you be in charge of this part.
Yeah, you do all the hard work. I'll just bring this. I'll bring this. You do all.
I knew if I got way back. I mean, you see it, Steve, how much effort and work these videos take. It takes a lot, especially the bat reps and all that. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. Well, I was having a panic attack literally about 17 minutes ago, just before we started, because Devin decided to let us know that he's going to be doing this video link via mobile phone, which
he
didn't
hasn't got
work.
a webcam.
It didn't work with the program that I was using.
2 weeks of arranging and heading towards the deadline, 17 minutes before. I don't have a webcam.
Well, so to be fair, I assumed that
I'm using my Nokia.
It's a razor, all right? It's a razor. I'm cutting edge.
Cutting edge.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize we would need a webcam. I was just like assuming. Oh, the phone.
Do you want to do a video call? Yeah. I didn't realize I'd need a webcam.
What was that other thing you didn't realise you needed when you left my house to go back to America?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Steve, this was a frightening story for me.
I've heard all about it, Devin. I've heard all about it. I've heard all.
Oh, you've heard all about it.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes,
the legends have already gone around the GBHL.
Oh.
I was like, how in the hell? Like, I must have checked twice, 3 times. For everyone out there, I forgot my passport at Damian's house. I checked 3 times, made sure, yep, I got everything. I'm pretty good. No passport. It was the only thing I didn't check
for a passport.
Yeah, we got to the airport.
Dropped
and I'm
him
like,
off at Heathrow, drove away, got a call. Do I need my passport? Turned around, drove back. Picked up a very frantic Devin.
I was very
Drive
frantic.
Dear me.
Damien was extremely patient with me.
And the good news is I haven't told anyone this story, so don't worry about it.
Anyone outside the GBHL.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the passport was right there. It was on that surface right there.
With a post-it note on it saying, "Do not forget me." Well, we did put a few posts out, and Devin put a post out in his local groups to see if people wanted to ask questions. So we'll get to those. I think what I'll do, I'll just jump into the chat first and see who's in and who's watching and who's saying hi. So we've got Dean's Painting and Tanya T letting us know the sound's great. The Gondorian Gamer's in. Mr. Will Pintar, the legend that is, he's in. Carl Daly's in. Lee Hansford is in. Mr. Samuel Jeffrey is in.
Sam Jeffrey.
I can't believe it. So
One
basically,
the most handsome man I've ever met.
Damien, I've noticed something. So me and you have streamed quite often, right?
Yeah.
Never had Sam Jeffrey in. We get Devin Moreno on. Yeah. Sam Jeffrey comes on.
But the thing is, this is a Monday. Sam has like mental Friday nights. He goes absolutely crazy.
Because Sam loves me.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Sam.
He's a beautiful human being inside.
He is. He's one
of the 2 founding members of the GBHL.
He is.
If he hadn't started a Facebook group 8 years ago, we might not be here.
Yeah, the game might not even exist. You never know. Stephen Devlin's in. He says, "Evening all. Good background listening while working on a Shire display board." Mark Stone's in. Charlie Marino's in. Will Rab. Andrew Pennington is in. Says, "Welcome, Devin. We should see the quality of chat and knowledge spike now." Oh, cheeky. Chris James is in. AD's in. Nice to see that you're back on YouTube, Devin, at least for tonight. Big Chap's in. Will Rab's in. Eric Schultz. And Ed Barfield's in. How you doing, Ed? Good to have you in, pal.
How you doing, mate?
Bruno's in. Dan G. Ross is in. And everyone's just saying hello. So what I'll do, because I've got a million windows open, I'm going to pop straight onto one of the questions that was posted. There's no strict script to this. You know, if we get through all the questions and comments, great. If we don't, we don't. We're just going to chat. If there's anything you guys want to chat, or if you notice anything going on in the chat that you want to pick up on, just say so, and we will do. We're just hanging out, really. So, first question that was sent into Devin's post was from Josh Ritz, and he basically just wanted an update on Nova, Devin. You know, is it happening? Has it been canned? What's happening with it?
So Nova's a bit tricky. For the most part, it's not canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And not even for the most part, it really just isn't canceled yet. The problem is the CEO of Nova has said by June 15th he's going to actually make a decision on whether or not the convention is still going. As of right now, Maryland is on what I guess we call phase 1 of reopening. and Northern Virginia is kind of going along that. DC's not, though. So it's still really up in the air what's exactly happening there. But yeah, June 15th is apparently when he's going to make the final call. Like, okay, is it canceled? Is it not? I do think that even if it goes forward, there might be a possible attendance hit. I think, I think that should be expected. But I think we'll still have a healthy turnout enough for me to, run an event. I mean, of course that. But as of right now, I'm still planning as if it's going. I know that, some of for instance, George Nicotitis, for those of you who don't know, prominent member of the OHA, actually a founding member of the OHA, Ontario Hobbit Adventures.
Yeah.
Hero.
So, yeah, he actually already had to cancel. He said, hey, he's one of my judges every year now, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it because the COVID. He's being safe, which makes sense.
Yes.
But he's still, I still am going to get some of his fantastic terrain. So we're still doing the whole thing of, for those of you who don't know, Nova is an event where every single table is drastically different. It's actually a complete diorama. We just basically copy Steve Crow's work and then bring it over.
Is Bayonne's house? Is Bayonne's house still living? Is it still a go? Bayonne's house, is it still there?
Yes, actually, it's a really loved board too. We've actually got the little hedges for it. And,
awesome.
We actually had someone now construct little beehives and such, and
was that done by Steve for Nova? Was that like a send it over there?
No, he kept throwing money at me. He said, "Do you want to sell it?" I was like, "No." And he just kept shouting numbers, and in the end, I just went, "Yes."
I don't know if it was that, because I know there's been various people you've had over the years. I think it's one of the coolest things about Nova that some of the guys Shadow and Flame and people like that have done prizes for you.
Yep.
So they go over to those prizes go over to America, and then Americans or Canadians get to own a little bit of Shadow and Flame stuff, like a unique model that they they couldn't normally get.
And that is something that we definitely,
this is one of them, for example.
Yeah, there you go. Damian brought home one of them.
Yeah, I didn't like it being left in America, so I brought it back home again. Well, Dave and Kev wouldn't want that over.
So Shadow and Flame definitely do some fantastic commission work for us. This year they were supposed to make Golf Mog the Balrog. We were going to have, what's it called? Gondolin being completely destroyed, and he was going to be a centerpiece on it. So this year we didn't commission them to do the prizes aspect because we had Games Workshop giving us a lot of prize support this time. Actually, last year was the first time Games Workshop was supporting us pretty heavily, and I think not because they didn't want to previous years. I just think there's a lot of logistics that could have gotten in the way.
Yeah, I think they've just changed the way they're doing things as well. They seem to be reaching out more to the community now, and
it's not just you. They
started
in tandem. Doing more tournament support over here with those ring trophies.
Yeah, which are awesome.
So we assuming they can complete it. It obviously this is a little bit of a complicated time, right? Like even beyond coronavirus, even with Shadow and Flame themselves. But so I think that. If we have it, great. But if not, we'll be continuing to work with him in future years. Steve, I just had to bribe him to give me Bayonne's house because it was so gorgeous. Steve constructs all of his boards as giant 4x4s, like they're all a solid piece, right? So I can't take them home. Whereas Bayonne's house, he actually just made the house, so that worked out great.
I've just started to draw out to remake it. I've been as soon as I gave that to you. I thought it's fine. I'll just make another one. And when was that? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
I think that was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I've just never got around to doing it. So I really need to do it because every time I'm setting up my events.
Sorry.
It's all right. Go on. What were you saying?
I was just going to say I've played on it in America.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think I realised at the time it was you that made it.
It is crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy. But yeah, I've just restarted to make one now. I've been working on some boards here, so you can't see it now because I've got my moody lighting on, just to try and look a little bit,
sexy.
Super duper YouTuber. But yeah, I'm gonna remake it after 3 years, redo it. I've got some ideas how to do it, and I've got better equipment and better ways of doing it. So don't want to rub your nose in it, but the new one's gonna be better than that one.
It's all good. I can understand it. Hey, Americans won't know though.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking. I do love that. I love that building. So as far as you're concerned, sort of Nova is, until further notice, everything's going as normal.
Yeah.
What's the vibe over there in your community? How was Corona? How's it affected your community? Because over here, people are really getting into sort of catching up on the painting backlogs. You know, we've started doing streams where we try to get people to catch up on the painting backlogs. But it's great to see the amount of hobby that's going on because a lot of people are at home. Is it kind of the same in the States in your community, or?
Well, I would say I haven't seen quite the painting backlog. Well, you see it on the GBHL side, the Facebook group, but I haven't seen as much on the American side as far as people getting through a backlog. I think that if they already were an avid painter, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We still are trying to host like tournaments. I know a lot of the tournament organizers are still trying to make events, but they just don't cancel them until like the last minute. So we just recently had, for our American viewers out there, like Historicon or some of the Midwest tournaments and such. And so they just kind of like, people are still actively trying to keep up with the game.
Yeah.
So you've had tournaments?
No, we can't. Every time we just are just, America's weird because it's like we're 50 different countries with 50 different sets of rules, right? So if you hosted a tournament in, let's say, Alabama, then you'd have no problem. I mean, you go to Alabama and it's like nothing's happened. But if you go to New York, then it's like you're on a complete lockdown. So it's strange, like how it kind of works from state to state. And of course, there, I won't go into too much of the politics behind that, but basically, as far as the players, as far as I'm aware, they're still trying to stay unified. They're still talking about the hobby. They're still, painting. You just don't see it at quite the level that the GBHL are kind of promoting it. Yeah. Except for Evan Iverson, he challenged me to, I guess that challenge that's been going around, you may have seen. He challenged me to paint a model. He's like, no, you can't commission it. You have to paint a model. So I guess I will paint one model during coronavirus, which is more than I usually do.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think I've just noticed as well there was a bit of a back end to the question about Nova, so we will cover it now, so we're not going backwards and forwards. And it is again from Josh. He was asking about in the future at Nova, would it be possible to have a good v Evil style of tournament?
Here, hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry, a little prompt came up on my phone. So good versus Evil. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, we have a couple tournaments that actually do good versus Evil in America, and we do try to keep all the different tournaments with their own like unique style and such. There has not been a plan for it, and I haven't seen a major asking for it. The only consideration of changing the GT format that I think I've at all considered, and still to this day consider, is the idea of teams.
Yes.
Like 3-man teams. And 3 just came is a number that came to mind. It might be more, it might be less, but I don't know that we're going to go to good versus evil. I haven't seen enough people really ask for that. Not to say that no one wants it, but at the same time, I think that everyone's comfortable with the format Nova is using. So yeah. I think for now, it probably will stay just as it is.
Yeah, cool.
Every single year, I still get the newsletters. You can obviously unsubscribe from them, but once you've gone, you get the newsletter. So I'm getting the weekly update, and I'm kind of like, or is it fortnightly, weekly or fortnightly? I can't remember. And I'm reading the editorial every time about whether it's going ahead, kind of excited, and this kind of, oh, maybe I'll go. And it's like, of course I'm not going. Like, for any number of exciting reasons, Nova going ahead has no bearing on my life. But I still get, because I managed to be whatever it is 3 out of the last 5 years. Would that be right? Maybe I still get this sort of odd temptation.
Maybe one day, Damian. I really want to go, so I'm going to need a travel buddy.
I'd love to go. If it ever works out, the timing works out with kids, I'd happily go again. That's what was so great in 2018 when Em just went to go.
Yeah.
Charlotte's at an age where I can deal with her on my own. We've got one go, and that was awesome. It's very, very different to going across with the other 3 guys, but I almost, I had a whole bunch of fun, like different, very, very different situation. But I was bunked up with George for that one.
Yeah.
And it was just great seeing everyone again. I would, when the world goes back to normal, I would just heartily encourage everyone possible to go.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
Well, if we had this conversation like that's 2 months ago, I'd have probably said it's highly unlikely I'd ever be able to go. But because I've been locked down and because my hobby side has fully come out of the closet, so to speak. Like Anna knows I'm a full-on nerd now, so I was hiding bits of it.
Only now. It took a
It's
global
only took 10
pandemic
years.
to
It's only took
open
10
up to
years.
your wife.
I used to convince her I'm not really a nerd, babe. I'm not really a nerd. but she's accepted now, and she's even painted some miniatures. We've had a Gamer Hero quest, and it's it could be a conversation that maybe I have in future years about possibly heading over to the States. That'd be fantastic.
I like the idea that in 50 years, when students study the global coronavirus pandemic, there'll be an essay question. They'll say like, what benefits came out of the coronavirus? And it was like, well, Steve Crow stopped lying to his wife.
Save their marriage.
Yeah, so it did wonders for the Crow marriage.
Oh, the weight that was lifted off my shoulders, it's unbelievable. I'm going to jump straight back into the chat I'm probably not going to be able to keep up with the chat throughout the stream, but I'll try my best. So I'll keep jumping in and out and going back to the questions. So we've got, I think it's Dave. It's the Irish way of spelling his name, and I think it's Dave. If it's not, please correct me. Yeah, I think it's Dave. He says, "Hail Devin, a mighty warlord of North America." Also, hi Damian and Steve, I suppose. Well, that's charming. That's nice. Chris James says, "What do you folks think the best ways to support our hobby are, including us? What do we think the best way?" Oh, look, Damian's got his volume up on his phone. So, Devin, do you want to cover? I mean, what's a good way for people over your side of the pond to keep supporting the hobby whilst we're in lockdown? I mean, the obvious is keep buying, right?
Well, I mean, as far as supporting a hobby, I actually think the communication that has been going on Facebook and even the forum still actually, I think is one really great way. I think I think what's important is keeping people who are already in the hobby, is still excited about it and still talking about it. I think we're all doing a really great job at doing that. So I would definitely say, just if you have any questions about tactics or, you want to talk about the new Armor model or, anything that's going on, I think definitely that. I think things that Steve is doing here with these, this podcast and, what YouTubers are doing. Now, I'm not saying everyone should go out and make a YouTube channel, but definitely.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. This is my bag, right?
There you go. But I think the big thing is like making sure everyone still feels like a community, because it's very easy in an isolated setting to suddenly fall out of things. Like, so in the way that, it did wonders for Steve, where it kind of brought him more into it, I think the reverse could happen. So I love the fact of the painting challenges. I like that kind of thing. Like, that's just an easy example, but like just, calling out someone to be like, hey, come join the hobby again, essentially. And I'm like, all right, fine. I think that's
that was Steve again, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me. Yeah. I started
that
off. I think I nominated, I think, maybe 3 or 4 people and said keep it going, and then I forgot about it for a week, and then the next thing it had gone international and everything. There was people from all over the place doing it, which is good, but it was just a way of keeping people kind of on the Facebook pages. And like you say, when you lock down, you can have good days and bad days, and you can kind of, I think it'd be quite easy to fall out of touch with the things that are normal, because this isn't a normal situation. So, people, I've got kids at home, I know Damian's got kids at home, so we're homeschooling, and it's tough. It is tough. So I think, just them little things. The social media is great. Me and Damian have been doing the streams on a regular. We've got another one on Friday, which have been a ton of fun. I mean, we don't talk about anything to do with SBG, to be honest. we end up
5 hours a week. There's not enough SBG in the world.
We end up talking about baked beans and chocolate and drinks. And
weird thing is, you look at viewing figures, and we've started talking less and less about SBG, and we're getting more and more viewers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
People just want to hear about you guys. That's really.
I think next week we'll have some Haribo fetishists in. I reckon that's.
I think actually Damian is doing a great job of being a living meme nowadays. It's Creebane one has just made the newest meme.
Yeah. They are looking sweet. I think they deserve an honourable mention on the stream, to be fair. They are looking.
Whole thing's done. Lockdown
sweet.
project finished, bro.
Yeah. That is an
There you go.
awesome
The whole thing
army.
was done. Cheers, dude. Yeah, it's cool.
That army's
Really
that
good fun to
army's
do.
got Nova 2021 written all over it.
Yeah, you can
That'd be
transport
great.
them across the Atlantic. I'm worried about getting them downstairs. I've actually got I've got legendary American Rob Cron, who is watching. He's probably commenting, but as always, Steve's ignoring his comments. He's got a really good magnetic solution for his models that I've seen. I remember when we went over there, he keeps all his models on these trays, and he puts them on the bases, and they're completely flush.
Yeah.
And you can get these 40mm things, and it's all for an American supplier. So as and when he can, he's going to send me some out, because I was like, I just can't. You can't transport these things.
They are very
Like,
delicate.
you couldn't put that in a figure case. Like even the, I'm going to show you that one. I can't actually see the screen from where I am, but can you
Yeah,
see
good,
how
yeah.
high and wide it is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
like,
little
you
bit
try and-
crazy.
You know, to support that, you'd have to be twice the width of that, and so on and so forth. Like you try and do that for all of them, you just end up with like a pick and mix of crows when you are.
Yeah. It is, they
Yeah,
are
I think
they're
it's gotta
mega
be magnets,
delicate.
you know.
Yeah. But they look awesome. They do
Yeah,
look
as
they
long
do
as
look
I don't
really good,
leave
man.
Cheers, pal. As long as I don't get them to leave the room, we're golden.
I actually would love an army like that. I love spam armies where you have like a ton of creep band. That's a perfect like Throne of Skulls army. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
you can't get up that high. It's really annoying. You can't expand it. You get Saruman an 18, which is 550 points. But if you want to go more, you need some sort of unthematic hero.
Mm,
I don't know what it'd be.
Yeah.
I think I worked it out. You need a 90-point Crabane Chieftain.
hold this thought, because that somebody has asked a question that kind of relates
What's
to what
the best missing profile?
to what you're talking about.
90-point Crabane Chieftain.
So hold that thought. I'm going to jump back in the chat because I do need to catch up on the chat. So Destro the Dexterous says Houstonian greetings, and Charlie Moreno says Damian and Steve really enjoy your Thorin Oakenshield company Champions in Erebor video the other day. I'd love to see some pictures. I wasn't even in that video.
It's the other one.
It's Ben. That was Ben, the beautiful Ben.
You're right though. I mean, you're right though, Charlie. It's a good video.
Yeah, it was good.
You know, the important thing is you're clearly concentrating on the right person. But it was Damian. He was great. And some other one. I don't know. But no, that was really good fun with Ben. That was Ben's idea, and like, cheers for having us on. But that was just, I think he wrote in the comment that was just like an hour and a half of having a chat with a mate. It was great. Like,
Yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool video. It was nice because you don't see much about Thorin's company. There's not really that many people use it as much as you'd like to see, and I think a majority of it is because, especially for new players, they're probably a bit scared of it because there's so many rules to remember and things like that. So a video like that is ideal, and I know he's planning to do more on other armies and things like that. So yeah,
He
definitely.
started off with Cal, didn't he, doing the Iron Hills one?
Yeah, he's still got
That
some.
was great. It was really good fun.
Yeah, he's still got some bits and bobs that he done with Cal that we need to get out. Actually, he just reminded me.
I always thought that was interesting that the Thorns company was even in a starter set because of how many rules they have.
Yeah,
actually, that was one thing I was just like, that's not really a beginning army, to be honest, in my opinion. I mean, I'm
glad they did because we mentioned it the other night, Damon. That set is an awesome set. Like the fact that you get all those heroes in that box for the price that you pay is amazing. But yeah, you're right. It is not very noob friendly. But then Goblin Town is a great starter army.
They had to take you through the scenarios book, didn't they? And I think none of them had rules, right? They were just the profile.
Yeah, I think they stripped a lot of them of their rules. Yeah.
And they didn't have a lot of them didn't have all of them in at the same time as well, so it wasn't
just
too
the
bad.
models. Though. The models are so good, good.
But it makes sense. I mean, they're the main characters, so who else?
You gotta have for the Hobbit or Unexpected Journey starter set. You gotta have Thorns coming in.
Yeah,
exactly.
Unless you went down the the Fellowship of the Ring starter set and you had Hunter Orcs against Rivendell. No, that's even better. You want something utterly bizarre like Moria Goblins against High Elves. You know? I don't know what the equivalent would be in the Hobbit. Like Dwarves of Erebor against Goblin Town Goblins or something.
Where are we now? I think I've just got to check. Yeah, so Ed Barfield says, "Are you guys missing events as much as I am?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
It's an odd one for me because and I've covered this quite a lot because of the YouTube stuff and the content that we create. And if I get spare time, I try and throw it into content creation rather than my own sort of hobby. I've not been to many events in the last 18 months at all. I think I've been to a couple of local events. But even though I'm not getting to them, I'm really missing the chat every weekend on the Facebook groups for the events that I'm not even at. Like, I still like to keep up to date with people's posts and how people are doing, and I'm missing that side of it a lot. Yeah, what about you guys? Is similar sort of thing?
Oh man, I'm an event addict. I attend like 2 events a month.
Jeez.
So I like to support my hobby here in America. So I'll definitely like fly. I'm at like almost every event. I try to where it
Yeah.
doesn't conflict. And of course, I like to go over to the British events a lot. So I think, yeah, no, I've had
There's
like
one British event you've not been to yet. Just say it.
You know what? I'm trying
There's two British events he's not been to.
The
He was
coronavirus
coming,
actually.
he was signed up for Seven Stones. He was
I
there
was
with
actually
Blake.
coming. I
Yeah.
had everything. I had a plane ticket. All I was ready.
Passport?
So
Do you have your passport?
I might have forgotten that at home somewhere. So, you know what? Now every time I ever meet Damian, I'm sure I'll never live that down. So.
Or anyone else from the UK.
Yeah, at this point, at this point it'll be random people at the pub just telling me.
Yeah.
For me, I go to less of them now since I was born, and it's almost there's always a few, but it's almost like 4 that I can count on, which are the 3 Warhammer World ones: GT, Doubles, and Throne Skulls, and then Ardacon. They're the 4 that I always try and go to because kind of the most people tend to go to them, so you see the most people at them.
Yeah.
And we've got the GT, and Doubles would be in July, and they haven't announced it, but they're not running events, and I can't say they will be in July, so I'm gutted about that because every year I team up with Trokey, and like we had a blast last year with a great company, and we've always had that the rivalry thing. We had Bold v Azog and then Legolas v Gimli, and we had a really cool idea for that this year, so that's gutting. And then this bloody thing was all done for a tournament. It was done for a 550 point tournament. I suddenly realised that was 550 points, so that's been cancelled, and it's been rescheduled to the start of August, and I'm a bit pessimistic about that.
Yeah,
it's a small event. It's only 20 people. It's a 1-day event, so maybe. But so for me, it's not necessarily the loss of all the events. It's the loss of a couple of very specific ones.
Yeah. It's
the
whole vibe around it as well, isn't it? Like I was saying,
yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I just really, really hope Throne Skulls happens.
Yeah.
By December.
Well, yeah, I imagine by December things should. I mean, I don't know. Should hopefully be back up and running. I'm seeing people, and even in the August events, Articon still hasn't officially canceled. Nova hasn't officially canceled. It seems like people are still hoping that this will be over by then.
Without being the herald of woe, I imagine both Articon and Nova will be cancelled. Like, I can't see them running personally. It's just my opinion.
Yeah. But, and to be fair, I can expect that.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, if that does happen, it just becomes when things get back up to speed.
Yeah.
And like, if Warhammer World's open, and are they going to have 100 people in the same room? I don't know.
If what kind of position is Nova, Devin, with if that date does get cancelled? Will it get put back to another date, or will it just skip 2020 and you'll be planning for 2021?
No, they'll have to probably go to another year, I think. So the logistics behind, I used to be a lot more involved before I got too busy for it. I used to be a lot more involved with the board, the executive board that runs Nova.
Yeah.
And I do know that they do like contracts that secure the dates like 3 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that date that they choose is, heavily negotiated. I really think if I were to make a guess, and like I said, I don't know, but if I were to make a guess, I think it would just be straight up canceled and you'd wait till the next year.
Yeah.
So that kind of operation is really hard to just postpone.
Yeah. Because there'd be so many things. There'd be something on it like every other weekend, I'd assume, and everyone would be in the same boat, so they can't just postpone them all because
it's the whole hotel, right? It's not like it's just a room.
No, they take over the whole hotel. Yeah, everything gets booked up. I mean, the hotel would, obviously hate it if it canceled too, because you think about the amount of money it's losing. But I mean, that hotel is so sought after that it books so many different events ahead of time. chances are months after Nova, every weekend is booked solid by some venue or something that also needs to cancel.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, I'll jump back into the comments. Alex Kaiser says, Devin, could we get an updated list of tournaments in the US? Because the one on the DCHL website was from around 3 years ago. Because I don't really know about any tournaments close to
Yeah,
California.
Devin.
All right, so fair disclaimer. I haven't updated if it wasn't obvious, right? I haven't updated the DCHL website. So obviously once my
You can't do it off a Nokia 3210. That's the problem. Razor. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is my phone? I have my Razor cell phone. Apparently, Damian just let me know it's 10 years old. Like, oh man.
Can't believe you use the phrase "cutting edge" for it. It's just outstanding.
I thought
write this stuff.
But yeah, I just became extremely busy, and everything with the hobby. It's right around when my YouTube channel I stopped posting. Everything with the hobby just had to take a backseat because it just really takes a lot of time to update and manage it. So you get the questions regarding it and little updates here and there and everything. It's a lot. I can't imagine I'll update the way I've actually considered taking it down. The only reason I haven't is because of all the stuff on it.
Yeah, don't take it down. Don't take it down.
I admire your honesty. He's going down the route of no, I'm not going to do that.
Really not. But because it's like once you start up again, when does it stop? Like right now, coronavirus.
This guy now is sorry that he asked. Like he's just asking, can you update the table? Now you're on about taking the site down. He's like, what?
I didn't realize Alex is always on our streams, isn't he? And I didn't realize he was American. I think I assumed he was British.
Oh man.
Yeah, I didn't know he was American, Alex. I didn't know he was American.
I'll tell you what. If you want the latest, so for everyone watching this, if you want the latest events, the best way to go is the ASBGA, American Strategy Battle Game Alliance. It's the Facebook group where all the American groups decided to just merge up.
Yeah, makes sense.
So on there we have a calendar, and the reason that stays up to date is because I'm not the one updating it. And so
because Facebook doesn't work on a Razor.
Yeah, it does. So, I've got my Nokia backup though, so I'm fine. But that is the best place I would say for right now. And then I think once you'll see me get back into everything, the swing of things as far as Facebook and updating everything, and even my website. I intend to bring it back. It's just, I'm just insanely busy.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to overburden myself with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Facebook group is really weird.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I think it does become sort of all-consuming when you're trying to run things and keep things up to date and everything. It's just, I think it's hard for people to realise sometimes how much effort goes into a Facebook page or a YouTube channel or a website or something like that. It is, especially when it's not your job. It is quite hard, but yeah.
I stopped making bat reps on the Plantier in favour of sitting on the sofa, live streaming and eating grapes.
Hashtag still waiting on Palantir 100.
I know, right? what a time to stop it.
Speaking of that, I don't think people realize how hard bat reps are.
Oh,
they're absurdly difficult. I have sworn off bat reps.
Yeah.
I even tell people now just openly, I'm never making one again.
Try it with 4 cameras.
Hours. Yeah, you need 4. You need and then the worst part is people expect you to make intelligent tactical decisions while you're worried about lighting and where my angles and what's going on and will this look good. Now let's redo that because that looks stupid. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So yeah.
They are very hard. I was talking to Jay about this this week. I'm really missing filming battle reports. And the weird thing about that is I hate filming them because there's so much effort. But because I've not done one for so long. I'm really missing it.
There you go, guys. If you want bat reps, just tune into Top Table Gaming. That'll be your sole source of bat reps. That and Zorbazorb, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Lucky does good ones.
The way you do it.
Oh, and Andreas.
I hated doing. It was quite fun meeting up with Matt when we did that ride out one, and it was a good laugh. But that's just all shaky handy cam stuff. Like the idea of going through what you go just makes me feel ill. No way, mate.
It's the post production that's the worst bit. That's the worst. The filming,
That is
it's
the
not
worst
too
bit.
bad. It's
Yeah,
this
yeah, absolutely.
post production,
It-
but
I mean,
It takes
I
like
don't think
3
people get the
times.
fact that if you play a battle report, imagine every game you play, and then after you played it and it's been really exciting, you then have to watch it.
watch
It's like
it
homework. It's like revision.
for hours. Yeah.
I don't want to go and watch that again.
Yeah. If the game's an hour and a half in post production, you probably spend minimum
3.
5.
5 for you?
7.
Yeah.
You
We had
you-
graphics and all
14.
sorts, don't we? So we're going back
Oh,
and
man.
forwards, back and forwards. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I would just have a drink, and I'm like, it would take me like 12 hours to edit a bat rep, and I'm like, and the worst part was they're always the most popular videos.
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh my god.
Well, sometimes they're hit and miss. That was the annoying thing. Sometimes you'll do a battle report and it'll do really well, and then you think, oh right, okay, yeah, it's worth the effort, and then you'll think, I thought of a better way of doing it. It takes a little bit longer, but people enjoy it, so it's going to be worth it. And then you do it, and it gets like 50 views, and it's took you
absolutely.
It's took you like 3 days to edit it.
I don't want to sound like I'm saying this. I'm saying this with a smile. I don't want this to come across like grumpy, but there's been stuff in the past that I've put loads of effort into it as a video or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's not like people say, "Oh, that was crap," but you just don't get the positive feedback on it. And then you go, "What was that?" And then you do. I don't know. You put up a hobby vlog showing it's got like 10 wargs on it, and everyone goes, "This is the best video you've ever done." I don't know what it is. And it does. That sort of thing for me personally just made me kind of go, well, I'm gonna probably not go to all that effort again.
Yeah.
The one Steve did for our when we did the advent calendar for the magazine, we went and did
Yeah.
Frozen battle report. That was beautiful. You put this thing up with like elves that like snowballs flying across the screen and stuff. It was wonderful. I honestly don't know what the views or comments are on that. But that was great, and I'm really grateful that you did that. But whether or not it's for you, whether it was worth the time or effort you put in, I don't know. You had the jingle bell sound effects, didn't you?
Yeah, little jingle bell sound effects.
I appreciated it.
The throwing weapons with snowballs, like animated snowballs and stuff. It was cool. I enjoyed doing that though, because it was a little bit different and a little bit of fun. But yeah, it is a hit and miss. It's a fickle life as being a YouTuber. It's very, very fickle. Big Chap says those Nova tables were spectacular. James agrees. And then Dean's Painting says thanks for the company whilst he slogs through 12 Rohan horses. Charlie Moreno says, Devin, you've got the best last name ever. Lol.
Yeah, I agree. So do you, actually.
Syke Dillamotte says, good evening. Joe says, hi, boys. Good to see everyone on the good versus evil Tony idea. Shadow in the East in New England does that format, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's the best format for the game, but it's also quite difficult to pull off, and it can put off potential new players. I think that's my main reason why I don't do it, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I want new players to come to my events. I really want new players to come to my events. And if you're a new player, you may only have one army. That's the thing. I mean,
actually, yeah, that's a very common thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to put anyone off. I want to make the events as open to people as possible.
I think
really.
that was more of an issue years ago when there were less events.
Yeah.
Now, and it might well still be an issue in America because America's so vast and there's probably less events, close to you. But certainly in the UK, people used to say that, and people always used to say it about the start of the year as well. Like your first event should be a small event because everyone's going to get new stuff. Like new players are going to get the start set for Christmas, and it was this kind of weird, I think, fictional group of people. And like I never saw any new player come onto the Facebook group and go, oh, this is stupid, I can't play. I've only got 400 points of Goblins. I never saw anyone do it, but there was this mythical mass of new players at the start of the year who would be disadvantaged by a high points tournament. And I think it's the same with the good and evil thing. That I don't remember ever hearing anyone saying, I was going to come to a tournament, but it's good and evil, and I've only got one army, so I can't. And now I think there's enough tournaments in the UK that it goes, well, okay, you can't come to that one, but look, this one's near you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're really lucky here. We have so many. I mean, we have so many official GBHL league events, but because there's that many, and it's quite difficult to get a slot in the calendar now. There's like loads of non-league events as well, which is great. Like the little one-day events that are popping up, I'm really going to make an effort to get to more of those because they suit me better, I think, as someone who doesn't have I find it harder to get away for weekend, like full weekends. I could probably do 4 a year if that. So the 1 day events where I can travel to and from and come back same day are ideal. But yeah. Joe says, ask Devin about the year he ran his Army of the Dead away from the Berserkers for the whole tournament. It was funny as hell. Can you hear?
Tournament?
Yeah, the whole tournament. Can you hear us, Devin?
Yeah, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but then somehow something came through, and then
damn those Motorola Razors.
That's because you put your phone on Do Not Disturb and it disturbed the stream, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta call the Razor company, actually. I gotta figure that out.
Is that Mr. Bick?
They haven't been responding to my phone calls. It's weird. I email them, no one responds.
Was a close shave.
Ooh, Pond City. Joseph says, hope Nova goes forward. Looking forward to defending my wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Dan G. Ross. Oh, sorry, go on, Devin. Go on. Do you want to comment on Joseph's wooden spoon? Oh, he's messing around now. Look at him. He's...
You know what? All right, hold on 1 second. I have to try to figure out.
It's what happens when you plug a 3210 into dial-up internet.
Yeah, right. I swear I have it on Do Not Disturb.
Is someone else on the other line upstairs?
You know what you wouldn't have to put Do Not Disturb on.
Yeah, if I had a webcam.
I'll move on to Dan G. Ross. So Dan G. Ross says those Crowburn don't need to be transported. Just open the window and scream, "Fly, my pretties!"
Tip them out the window. Ah! I heard crows earlier. I'm pretty sure they're real. I was just downstairs and I heard crows. In Game of Thrones when you start hearing the crows.
Yeah.
Is that me? Or is that...
Could be.
Is that just in my head?
Maybe you're just sort of more in tune with them now. That's probably what it is. Guardians of Wiltshire, I'm assuming that's Dowie. He says, evening gents, late to the party as I was just recording an interview with Mr. Entwistle. You should have come on. Yeah, can you get 5 on Zoom? I think you can.
Steve, you can get like 50 on Zoom.
Yeah, you can get a lot of people on Zoom.
Oh, that'd get messy with the chat, wasn't it? Let me get rid of that. So we've got Facebook user Clayson Scott says Devin does love his spam armies. Hobbits.
I do.
Yeah.
No. So Clayson is actually a local community member here in Maryland, and he knows that like anytime I get some bizarre unit, I just like, what if I had like 50 of these? And so I told Damian what my latest project is, assuming Throne of Skulls isn't canceled, is I want 10 Trollbirds. Or actually, it comes up to 8 Trollbirds. And Bolg. So that's my plan. Throne of Skulls. I might change it to 9 Trollbirds and a good, bad, or captain, 2 of them to leave.
We were talking about this. Was it the GT you were over for?
It was at the GT. Yeah.
It rankles my theme nose because it's only Stumpy. It's like Stumpy's been cloned 8 times. Should be a hero. You should be a hero.
You know what? Damian actually may enlighten me to this one. I didn't even really think about it, but when he was like, Stumpy really, there's only like 1, and I'm like, no, there was one. I'm like, there's one that fell in the lake that Boffer was riding, and then the one that Legolas killed. It's like, no, that's the same Stumpy. And I'm like, and I thought about it, and I had to I really, really think about it. I'm like, oh my god, it should be a hero.
I paid an extra $50 for that.
Stumpy. It's not a Stumpy. He's Stumpy.
I'm just thinking there's mutilated trolls.
Yeah, the idea is there could be other mutilated trolls.
Yeah, and so I even have my brother Jordan assembling them. Yeah, no, I'm terrible, but he's assembling them. Like, can you convert them?
A big cash drop. 8 Stumpies.
Yeah, that's.
What are they in dollars? That must be like $100.
Are they 80? Are they 80 quid here, Damian?
Yeah, about 80 quid over here, I think.
Yeah, they're like $100. I mean, I'm sparsing it over time, and it's something that, I mean, the idea was that me and Andreas, the Norwegian Viking, he actually has 3, I believe.
Right.
So 3 or 4. So the idea was me and him were gonna pair up to try to get all the Stumpies without me needing to buy every. Because the problem with the idea is, after you have all those Stumpies, what do you do with them? Like,
yeah. Once you've been to one tournament, yeah.
Yeah, you take one thing. It's like, I'm probably just gonna do a community like call out and be like, if anyone has a Stumpy, please donate it to me for my cause. I'll give them back. So
Well, if it's to play in the UK, I've got one you can borrow by all means.
no,
You
perfect.
go the other route. You could get like people to sponsor them, like to get some of your money back. Like say, you could pay I don't know $50 and name a Stumpy and have it written on the base, and then they get it at the end of the event.
You've got to make one of those wildlife adverts, Devin. For just $30 a month, we will send you postcards.
So, everyone knows me with the hobby. I'm so notoriously. I'm like the worst businessman when it comes to the hobby. I decided, I'm going to turn my brain off to that. Damian does so much better with that than I do. But yeah, obviously, like, I agree with Damian. Yeah, the worst idea I could do is go out and buy 9 Stumpies.
That's not what I said. I think it's a great idea. I've got 189 crows.
I'll probably
buy the Stumpies, Devin. Buy them. Own it, mate. Own it.
Support your local GW people.
Yeah, a spam army of Stumpies. Nick Gardner says, I got absorbed in a project and forgot this was even a thing. How embarrassing. Nicholas Gardner. Al Wood's in. Yeah, let us know what it was. Al Wood's in. He says, Devin, great to see you, sir. Not so much me and you, Damian, there. Cheers, Al. Standard.
Hey, Al. Really, I'm liking being on this podcast. I feel so loved.
Charlie Moreno says it's the beard, Steve. I got you confused with. Yeah, we have both got lockdown beards, me and Ben. And then we've got a comment from Facebook from Sam Musgrove. He says give new Last Alliance models. I'm assuming he's asking, do we think, do we need them? Are we getting them? Have you got any thoughts? Are you hoping for them?
Well, hoping. It's weird. Like, I would say I'm hoping for them, but I'm remaining realistic about it. With the Amazon series being centered around the Last Alliance, I think that if I were to make a guess, I think that the way that things were going, it was supposed to be Gondor War, Roar, and Rohan, and then the next logical step was Last Alliance.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is at Articon, Jay had made a comment where someone said, was Anarion a mistake? And then Jay said it wasn't a mistake at the time.
Mm.
So my guess was they were supposed to do it, but now maybe it got pushed. So I'm assuming we are not going to see anything Last Alliance related until that Amazon series comes out. But that's my assumption.
Yeah, you're pretty much on the same boat there, Damian, from what we've spoken about before.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's even further down the line because you have as I've said before, you have no idea what the Amazon series is going to be. And the Last Alliance, the battle that you're waiting for, that could be in season 4.
Mm.
Like it could. There's no one knows when the actual battle will be. So it might be that when the series comes out, what you actually get is more like the first year of SBG, where you get some sort of skirmishy orcs and skirmishy rangers, or I don't know, elves, or a few of the heroes in some hunting party, or some. God only knows what it'll be. But it might suddenly be that this thing comes out and the producers get this really weird backlash from a very, very small community. So why the hell aren't you doing the massive battle? Because I want my miniature figures. It's like, well, we thought we'd develop the story a bit first. If that's all right with you.
I mean, there's also the
Last Alliance is the end. So if they're going to do 5 seasons, the battle that's probably the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah. There's also the chance that they don't get the license to make miniatures for it, which then sort of their original plans then would go back on track, I'd assume. But who knows? It's exciting times. We'll have to wait and see. Eric Schultz says, Damian, maybe consider a cake pan with plastic lid for magnetised figures. It works great.
Yeah, cheers. The suggestion from Rob is he's got these stackable plastic cases, with lockable lids.
Yeah.
And then he puts the trays in the bottom, and they seem to work really well.
Yeah.
He's basically tipped up a Lake Town army in front of me and made my heart stop.
Yeah.
While he was cackling like a mad thing. And, I believe you.
Well, I know.
Yeah, something like that. But cheers for the tip.
Yeah, there is a company out there that manufactures them, and they're on. They're like filing trays because Jay has them for his Warcry warbands, but you get a bag that fits around it, so you carry the whole thing. like the whole stackable thing in a
Oh,
bag.
right, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. When you speak to Jane, let's just ask him to send you some pictures of what he's got. And I think they do different sizes, so they'll do like skirmish size and they do big army size, but they're quite cool. I can't remember the name, but if you remind me or if you speak to Jay, I'm sure he'll point you in the right direction. Let's have a look. Where are we? Clayton Scott says there are no events like Middle Earth SBG played in different events. It's really a really amazing group of people. I think from what I've seen, that's where we are really lucky with our events. Like the people who take part in this game, a different breed to your 40k players or your AOS players, and I think we are generally more community focused and.
So nice. We're so nice.
We're awesome.
A lot nicer, yeah.
And we're really humble as well.
Oh yeah. I think
really humble. We are the best at being humble.
We are though, right?
Yeah.
If you've got it, flaunt it. That's what I was always told.
Steve's humble, Devin's humble. I'm particularly humble.
I think there's no one more humble than us, to be honest.
It is that whenever anyone brings up a question in these live streams, or whenever I'm talking to a new player, like I do always try and hammer it home for people to go to an event, even if they're not playing, even if there's a local event and they've not got a ticket, it might be sold out, or they're a bit still worried about getting rules wrong. Just go and hang out and meet the people, and because it's not just about playing the games. Not for me personally, it's not anyway. It's about seeing these people that you're chatting to constantly on Facebook. Face to face, and it's the bit I enjoy about it most. It is great. Like we wouldn't be doing this stream, like we wouldn't know each other. We didn't. I mean, I'm stuck with Damian because he lives there, but
He lives there on the internet.
Every time I put my screen on, he's sat there with one leg up, bare from the knee down.
It's just like a 24-hour stream that me and Steve have.
A phone number keeps scrolling across the bottom. But no, yeah, we are a good bunch.
We'll eat them.
We are a good bunch. Nick Gardner says, I got my enhanced license last fall to hop the New York border into Canada, and then the whole damn world shuts down. It won't be for long, my friend. It won't be forever. We've just got to sit tight.
Actually, I saw Adam Marcel jumped on. Actually, he hosts an event that I was really looking forward to in July, I think, is Dissolution of Toronto. And that one, I think I'm sad to not be able to go to because it's always really fun. It's a blast.
He's another legend. He slept on the sofa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's been on the sofa. Maybe he hasn't slept.
And I say it might be canceled. I'm just assuming. I think July is a really close call. So, but, this is a guess.
It's only around the corner. I mean, they are starting to ease restrictions. On a personal level, I think it's a little bit soon. I would rather be safe than sorry, but that's just me. And I think the general public, as soon as you start hinting that things are going to start getting back to normal, I think they end up just running away with it, and it just gets crazy, and we're going to end up doing ourselves more harm than good. And then if a lockdown's got to start again from scratch, then it's all the last 2 months have been for nothing. But I mean, hey ho, that's politics. We don't want to talk about politics on here. We'll just have to sit tight, ride it out, and see what happens. Nick says, if we lose Nova this year, I'll be devastated. I've been spending the last year upping my game and repainting my elves to reclaim my painting crown.
Yeah, I think he just got narrowly beat this year. Nick Gardner, for those who don't know, is actually an avid painter, and he generally goes for the best painting awards, and he does pretty well with that. I think this year, I'm hoping I'm not getting it wrong, I think it's Charles Lynn. Actually,
Oh, we lost you. Yeah, you get.
Yeah, I lost audio.
Yeah, because he's getting his notifications. He needs to get Do Not Disturb on. That's what he needs to do.
So I figured out what it is. Yeah, it's definitely people calling me.
Is it the manufacturers emailing you back?
I really apologize about this, guys. I'm like,
people calling you. I can't. Famously, you put it on Do Not Disturb.
You know what? The only thing I can do left is put it on airplane mode, but then this whole chat goes down.
that would be a bad thing.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the fella, Damian, who said he only paints elves. Am I remembering correctly?
Nick Gardner, he has
Yeah.
a lifelong fascination with elves.
Yeah.
Yep. He's our resident elf of North America. I mean, that's literally. I think he refuses to play any other army. It's
Yeah.
just like an outright refusal.
I think actually he commented on some of my posts today, Nick. I'm sure he did. Andrew says, if you're only allowed one army to keep, which out of all your vast collection would you choose and why? That's a good question.
Ooh, oh, that's tough. So I have a fascination with an army I rarely get to play because I don't think it's good enough to play. I love hobbits, and that's where it's tough for me. Anyone knows I love my hobbit army. I think I had commissioned Seth Hinder to make a Ranger of the North army comprised of many different Aragorns and
Right.
many different models and I just am in love with that army. And it's one of the ones I really want to bring to more events, but I just don't think it'll perform very well. But I think just out of a labor of love, I think I would end up keeping that.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of effort behind it and how much detail went into every single model, because they all just look very different, but yet they look cohesive. They don't look like they're not on the same army.
Yeah.
Good for me, that.
What about you, Damien?
I'm looking around. I feel like my Isengard's it's weird because that's the biggest army I've got and the one I've had the longest.
Yeah.
But equally, and that would now cover Crebain, so they'd make it through that. But they're also, a lot of them, the worst painted. But maybe my Gundabad's, because my Gundabad army is every model in it's converted, so they're all unique poses, and I've got all the big beasties. That's probably the single most time hobby I've got on one army.
Yeah.
If I was allowed Thorin's company to take all Thorin's companies, I'd probably pick that. So if I could get to keep my 3 Thorin's companies,
Yeah. I think
because it's Thorin's company models, that again it's just about time and effort for me.
Yeah, I'd really be torn. I think it would either be. I mean, Gondor screams at me because it was one of the first armies that I built, but it's so badly painted now because it's some of the first models that I painted. But then I really like my Thranduil's Halls because it's got my favourite model of the range in it. But I'm currently painting. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Thranduil. He was a garbage model.
Thranduil on horse.
Yeah, Thranduil on horse. I'm currently painting I'm painting Isengard, and although I've never played with them, well, other than our slow grow, the most I played with them is 300 points with our slow grow league that started just before the lockdown. I'm really enjoying just painting them and looking at them on the shelf. So I think
you know what's 300 points?
I've got about 2,000 points of them now.
Do you know what is 300 points?
What?
15 Crebain.
I haven't got 15 Crebain. Do you know anyone who's got 15 Crebain? Anyone who would be foolish enough to buy 15 Crebain?
Wardrobe store will be open soon. Join us.
No. I'm going to buy some Stumpies though.
There you go. Hey, it's what's in. Buy yourself
Roast
some
of Stumpies. We could do an article, a murder of Stumpies.
For all you listening out there, get yourself a Stumpy.
Yeah, if you're thinking of buying a Stumpy, I'd get it now before Devin makes Forge World sell out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think they keep a lot of stock, right?
No, I doubt they would. Yeah, I doubt they would.
They're going to get an order for 8 Stumpies and go, well, this is a mistake. This must be a mistake.
Can you email this customer and see if this is right? We can't. He's only got a razor. We'll have to send smoke signals. Nicholas Gardner looks at his army. Lothlorien.
It's going to be Lothlorien, I reckon.
Yeah, Lothlorien's a given. Chris James, is there a way to video conference a game if we end up in lockdown for a long time? Yes, there's ways that we have had chats at Top Table about possibly doing remote games, but I just don't think it would have the appeal that you think it would. I think it would be quite odd because it's so there's going to be such precise movements when it comes to base contact and whose base is aware. If you're not moving your own models, it cannot be as precise as this game is designed to be, if that makes sense.
a guy wrote a really good article about it. It's all inspirational stuff for Warhammer Community about 5 weeks ago about
Yeah.
playing remotely.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Age of Sigmar, and it was that kind of. I think you can do it with your friends, but one of you, it can't be that you have your own models. It has to be one player's got both armies,
Yeah.
and then the other player rolls the dice. And so you would have to just move. You'd have to be moved. You're right. I want to charge him, and make sure that you move him in and trap him as your opponent would. You know, you'd have to.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, you've moved the models? They go, right, so he's trapped. He goes, no, you haven't trapped him. Actually. Like, it's because you moved him. Well, you didn't say you wanted to trap him, but I think you could have a go at it.
Yeah,
like,
I think the easiest way
would 10 times as long. But
yeah, I think the easiest way would be to have 3 people. So have one person who has the board and is moving the models, and the other 2 people are instructing him what to do. I think that's the fairest.
Doing it is
It's the hardest.
Future of SBG tournaments.
Yeah. And then on from that, Nick Gardner says Tabletop Simulator is where most people are looking. Yeah, I was going to mention that. It's not for everybody. I tried it. I've played a couple of games of Battle Companies on it, and it's fun. It's a stopgap whilst we're all stuck at home. I was able to play the game and I had no problems. It's not a replacement for actually playing against someone, but it was fun. And there's a fella from your neck of the woods, Devin, Spencer Conrad. He's been making 3D images of all my painted models, so they're all on Tabletop Simulator now for everybody to use.
Oh, nice.
And everyone's been sent the stuff that I've not got. I think other people have been sending them, and he's turning them into really nice.
The renders of it look amazing. I've seen a few screenshots, and it's quite incredible.
It is really good. He does a great job.
The recreation of it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit of fun. Like I say, it's not a replacement for playing on a board with your pal. Nowhere near, but you know, it's the best we can do in the situation that we're in. Dave says IHL events are cancelled from March through to July. We might get one in late August, but that's been quite optimistic. Most of the community haven't played games in 9 weeks, and we're getting edgy. Yeah, I think I've been keeping my eye on, because I've got family in Ireland, so I kind of keep my eye on their daily press releases, and the Irish are being a little bit more cautious than we are, which is a positive thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, so
actually, I had a trip to Ireland that got cancelled because of this. I was going to the ETC, and I was going to turn it into a whole vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to an IHL event.
I think I mean, don't quote me on this at all because I've not spoke to Dave about it or anything, but I heard possibly that they were maybe trying to put it back, and it might be over here instead.
Put it back. You mean, but
yeah,
like next year?
Yeah, might be later in the year.
Huh.
But that's
he hasn't told me about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't take that as gospel. It's just rumours and hearsay from what I heard. So if there's nothing official, because obviously he'd tell you. So if he's not told you, then yeah, don't take any notice of that.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying he would. I haven't been able to attend an ETC forever. That was just.
I think he sent Devin a text, but.
But he keeps just getting rid of it because it's interfering with his stream.
I get texts. I think you sent me a Facebook message. I think that's where it got all screwed up.
And then Dave says, "What's the Palante?" ? We do need to see the Palante. We do need to see the Palante 100. We need it, Damian, in our lives. A remote Palante.
It could be a more perfect episode to have ended on, you know, like on 99. But yeah, we'll do it. I think we haven't decided not to. We'll do it, but you know, we can't now.
And then Gondorian Gamer says we need more barrels. Was that in reference to something we were speaking about earlier?
Barrels.
I can't remember.
I don't think so.
This happens a lot when I stream. I forget. I've got a very short memory.
I don't remember anything about that.
Barrels.
Is it a Thorin's company?
That's the only reference I can think of.
Yeah, maybe. Confirm for us, Gondorian Gamer, if you could, my mate. Destro says, and for anyone in or near Houston, Texas, I'll be keeping track of local SBG tourneys and events. Oh, my mouse has gone funny. Oh, there we go. Where was it up to? Events on the Facebook page, Houston, Katie Middle-earth Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh, he's corrected himself, Gondorian. We need more bat reps, not barrels.
Oh,
Jesus.
Like what? What?
I think we need more barrels.
if you need more bat reps, just tune into Top Table Gaming, and they've got all your bat rep needs. Steve loves editing bat reps.
Love it. I've actually, we've been saying for ages. Ben's been saying for ages. Oh, you need to show me how to do this and how that, because he's got the general gist. Like Ben's like a sponge. He wants to know how to do everything, which is great. Like fantastic. But we've just never. If I've got the time to sit and show him how I edit a battle report and put all the animations and stuff in, we tend to use that time instead to film a battle report. So we never got around to it, and I wish we did now. Oh, he's moved cameras. Look, this is snazzy.
Uh-oh.
Look at this.
Wow, great.
Hey?
See, this is why I like streams with Damian. I always get, new views. Just always changing up the scene.
Yeah,
It's
you've not seen CCam yet. That's a shocker.
Cam, sofa cam tonight. So it's doing its other job.
The MMA guy, GBHL James. MMA guy, is that GBHL James? Is that what it's saying? If it is, welcome, buddy. Big chap. Hello, Moto. That was off the Motorola adverts. Remember that? Hello, Moto. Oh my God, memories. Devin, what's the score on the cheating scandal at Nova? Enough time passed for it to be anecdotal. Do we want to open a can of worms, or
was it cheating scandal? He's referring to the one 4 years ago.
I don't know.
There's another one.
No, I'm not implying that. I'm just saying like is that what is referring to.
Right, I'm gonna go back to the sofa and get the popcorn.
Is it worth elaborating on, or would you rather keep tight-lipped, Devin?
I mean, I certainly don't mind. I mean, it's one of those things. I think that's it happened. I think I probably shouldn't have made it as public as I did. So I think looking back, I probably wouldn't have taken that route with it. But other than that,
I suppose it's an awkward situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? In my mind, honestly, I think events have kind of in most tournaments, you're generally going to have one or two people who kind of may bend rules or bend things, and it doesn't get put in the public spotlight as much as that one did. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't even know what he wants to know about it. It's an event thing that happened like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think he said, is it anecdotal yet? Can they make jokes about it yet, or is it still too raw?
Oh, is it? Oh, no. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, the only reason I always shy away from the subject is because what I don't want is new players to be like, I'm not going to Nova.
Yeah.
And that's not true. I mean, by and large, most players do not cheat at the game. So, they just got a public spotlight to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, feel free. I'm not sensitive to it. I even told the guy himself, I'm like, I'm not mad at you. Like,
I'm fine. I'm
a TO. Like, I have to ban you. Like,
yeah.
Devin, Tom isn't here. You can talk about it.
All right, perfect. I was really worried. I mean, we're seeing Jeffrey on here and all kinds of people not normal. So
You can work the internet worse than
you. Nick Gardner says, sadly, it's not even models related. My Kylo Ren cosplay helmet broke, and I'm reworking it from scratch. Ooh. Sorry about that, man.
Oh, that's the project he's working on.
Yeah. Charlie Moreno had a class online to attend. Cheers, guys. Looking forward to more content. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Joe Holzman says they're called A-case. I think it means the magnetic ones, Damian.
Yeah, cool.
And AD says yes, A-cases. Have one of their smaller bags. Very happy. Nick Gardner says Lord of the Rings is the most dedicated of the games. Legion players start chomping at the bit if they don't get something each month. We went years without anything and willed a dying game back into existence. It's very true.
It's very true.
Very true.
I'm actually impressed on how much we accomplished as a community. I mean, like, the fact that there was no question in our minds this game was going to die. Like, when that, just before the Middle Earth team took over, I mean, actually, I talked to Damian about it. I was like hoping that SBG magazine would become the new rule book of the game. When they started putting profiles.
Oh, don't put him in charge. Don't.
My Nokia.
The razor's gone. The razor's gone. It's gone.
I got my backup Nokia phone.
No, I think. I mean, I mentioned before like how lucky we are. And the community that we've got over here is big. We're lucky in that sense. But I think when the community as a whole became an international community, I think that was a massive step for the system, and that was a lot to do with. Yeah,
And
with
actually,
yourself. Yeah, you've mentioned this before, Damien. A lot of it was mainly
think,
to
yeah.
was to do with Devin. Yeah.
This to his
I think
face.
Nova was like the catalyst somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
It was when you. I think an awful lot of it was you inviting us over, and I mean that as you, not us. That we had. I remember the destination Stockport had a few guys a few guys over from like Norway and I think and like a few international travellers, but still very much we would give certificates to them at the end because it was an unusual thing.
Yeah.
And then you like inviting us over, and I remember exactly where we were. We were in the Beefeater when me and Tom got the text, and we were like, "This is insane. We can't possibly go to America. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." And then, as it turned out, it wasn't the stupidest thing we ever heard, and we could do it. And then we went out there and had a blast, which then encouraged James to do Ardacon based on Nova, which was then like another step. And I also think us going out there encouraged other Brits to say, "Oh, maybe it's not the stupidest thing in the world to cross the country and cross the sea and go to a different country." And then I don't really remember the order, but as a result of Ardacon, possibly the ETC emerges. And
Ardacon was definitely first.
Hands down, only happens because we went to Nova.
Yeah.
And Ardacon's now a massive kind of international draw. So I genuinely mean this. Like if the DCHL hadn't reached out to us, and I know the spokesperson was very much Devin, but certainly the first year it was Devin, Rob, and Walker who were really, really looking after us and giving us such an awesome time out there. If they hadn't given that hospitality, I don't think it would have happened but I don't think James would have done Ardacon. So there's that man over there. He can't work a phone, but he's got a big part in where we are.
A webcam? What's a webcam? No, so yeah, thank you very much for that, Devin. I think it was when it all became kind of international, and it was like I think the first time I ever met you was a weird situation for me. I don't know how it was, but for me it was a weird because we'd already spoke quite frequently on Facebook. I knew of you. I think you knew because I was GBHL host there. I still am, but I was more GBHL then. So we knew of each other and we'd spoke. And then meeting, it's like it wasn't the first time we'd met, kind of. Do you know what I mean? It was.
No, 100%. It's a feeling that I had to get used to.
Yeah.
It was a surreal moment where you've never met someone before, but you feel like you know them, like you feel like you're friends, and so it's like, it was great, like meeting you and everyone else in the community. Actually, just as a funny story, it even got almost as extreme as me and two friends we were driving to Canada for a tournament, an OHA tournament. And they decided to ask me 6 hours into the drive. They're like, "Oh, do you know where you're staying?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this guy's house." And then I revealed, I'm like, "Yeah, I've never met him, but we're going to stay at his house." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And they're just like, "You've never met him?" And I'm like, "No, I mean, he seems like a swell guy." I get out the car, and they're in stunned shock because I get out the car as if I've known this guy my whole life. It's George Nikitaitis. And I go up and give him a hug, and it's the same with all of you. Like, I was just like, I see you in Britain, and I'm just like, man, I feel like I already know you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
funny. How people die, Devin.
I know, right? Like, I now actually talk about it. I'm like, the SBG community is so great that I feel like I could fly to almost any country and be very comfortable with where I'm staying. Like, even if I've never met the person.
Yeah.
So
one of the articles I wrote was was about the kind of weird friendship angle. The fact that you make you do stuff with people that you would only do with exceptionally close friends in terms of where you stay and where you sleep and how much time you spend together, and a lot of the time you don't know anything about these people
and how drunk you get together.
Yeah.
I mean, George at Nova, George Nikitaitis is like a truly wonderful man. I'd never met him.
Mm.
We chatted online, and then because I think we were the only, like I was the only one coming from the UK, and he was the only one coming from his part of Canada or something like that. We end up sharing a room together, and then your dinner's like, all right, night. So what do you sleep in? Well, I sleep in my boxers. Yeah, me too. Great. So let's strip naked, get into bed, and then just start like talking to each other. Night, sweetie, night. And then you shut your eyes and go, this is weird. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's great though. It's a good thing. It's definitely a positive thing. Carl Daly says, enjoying listening to this whilst finishing my first terrain kit. My Rohan house is done. Really pleased with it. Pick on the TTG page. I'll check that out later. That kit is awesome. And it kind of segues into a question that we got. I think it was on your post, Devin, about terrain kits. And we may as well kind of make it broader and say, what things do you guys think is coming next? So we know we're getting Quest of the Ring Bearer. We know we're getting Aomer. What models do you think we're going to get next? What supplements do you think we're going to get next? And do you think we're going to get any more terrain kits?
So
in less than 5 words.
Yes, no, some.
Arnor needs love.
It does. It does. It does.
I mean, that's one that me and my brother were because he's so mad at how he feels Arnor's been nerfed. But less than 5 words. I think I've already abused it.
Oh no, I was only joking. You can elaborate. Okay. You can elaborate all you want.
So I actually was pretty happy to guess about it until the Scouring the Shire came out. And then I'm like, I have no idea, what they're playing, because that was way out of left field.
I mean, Quest of the Ring Bearer, I never seen that coming. That was crazy.
So the only reason I would have guessed something around Frodo, originally I would have said the Last Alliance, but it looked like they were going backward, with Gondor War and Rohan, and then now something to do with the Fellowship movies, right? I would have guessed Last Alliance, but of course the Amazon thing. Now that that's done, so you got Quest of the Ring Bearer, which, we haven't seen it yet, so I don't know exactly what style it's following, but after that, the only thing I would hope, so what I'm going to do is hope is that they fill out the model ranges for armies that don't really have much. And that's why I mentioned Arnor.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot going there. It's like, okay, what's really happening with this army? So I think there's a lot of love to be had there. I think you can fill it in with a lot of armies, even from Evil, which is, Cardolan and Arthedain and, well, not Arthedain, but Raudar.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from all of, what is it? Carndom? I forgot. The castle of the Witch King, the capital city. I forgot. Carndom, yeah. The Barbarians of Carndom, yeah. So I think there's War of the Ring already has a lot of influence there. I think, although, yes, this means Angmar gets a power-up, I really am hoping it means more that the good forces of good receive a little bit more love for Arnor. So that's me personally. That's Jesus. So
goddamn Razor.
For those of you watching, I'm actually balancing a phone in this really artful way. I should have got a webcam before.
We're gonna have you. We'll get you on again, Devin. We need a webcam next time.
There you go. I promise you all have a webcam next time because this is brutal.
So what about any ideas? Do you think what kind of terrain kits, if any? I mean, you might not have even thought about it, but is there any terrain kits that you would like to see appear?
So for terrain kits, I think so the ones they've come out with, Lake Town House, Rohan, and Goblin Town. Am I missing any? I think that's the only 3 we've seen, right? Okay. So
new ones. We got the Osgiliath Ruins.
The Osgiliath ones, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Osgiliath Ruins. So we got Ruins houses. So what I have noticed is that they're really trending toward things that are universal, that I think could be used in other sets. Like you could honestly, realistically use Rohan houses and Lake Town houses in Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to gravitate out toward that. So if I kind of stuck to the same motto, I
think would you some like dwarvish ruins, like pillars,
Yeah, yeah, that's what
doorways,
they're
things
doing.
like that, like that kind of thing, because that would
That
easily
would go with
transfer to Sigmar.
it'd go with like a Casa Doom supplement, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and that
That
I think
that
yeah,
can't be
dwarvish stuff
a
would be
million
good.
miles off.
yeah.
Goblins and dwarves, Casa Doom, and you could do like the reclamation, but you could also do like Durin stuff, and yeah, there could be scenery in there.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that would be an excellent place to go next. I mean, unless they want to attach it to a film like the Goblin Town terrain, I think yeah, dwarvish architecture. I'm trying to think of any other like. I'm trying to think of one for elves. I mean, I don't think they'll just do trees.
Well,
You know.
the ages was it Age of Sigmar? Those trees that they brought out last
Yeah,
year are quite
quite
nice.
nice.
I can't really see them redoing trees because they're
Yeah, I
quite
can't see that
generic.
either. Yeah.
I think dwarvish is probably the next thing that we'd see, but that's just me guessing. Like, I think
Actually,
I
you know
think
what?
in the
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
am I right in thinking the Asclepius ruins are not on sale anymore?
I think so. Yeah.
Or was that
It,
temporary? Because I wonder if
like
they could be doing you could get like Dale or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dale
Dale
ruins.
ruins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be
no,
quite
you could
cool.
do something like that, and that would also be another universal one where it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
you
ruins,
could
isn't it?
use that across.
Yeah.
The thing I love about the idea of ruins and dwarvish architecture, both of those concepts, is because you see the rural woodland creature utilized all the time in SBG, but you can never see mountain dweller utilized almost ever because
Yeah.
there's really not much terrain for it.
Unless you play one of my
So
boards, Devin.
yes, and and some Nova boards, I'll admit. I got a little annoyed by that, so I made sure in every single dwarvish uh, layout board that we
Yeah.
had that it always had something mountain dweller could be used
Mm. Yeah.
on. But yeah, no, I mean your board, same thing. Like so I love the idea of Dale Ruins and Dwarves Terrain for that reason.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So Tom Turtle says surely Amazon stuff would have to be a different game. Don't know if I can see minis from two versions of Middle Earth in the one game, or will the series fit in with the same canon as PJ films? I think in the other Speak Friend that we did with Lockie kind of shed a little bit of light on. He was saying that he thinks the imagery might be very very similar.
Yeah, it wouldn't have to be a different game.
Yeah,
They
it's
wouldn't. They
Yeah,
wouldn't. There's no way they'd agree to it as a license, even if that was a thing that would have to be part of it. It's no different to having young Barlin and old Barlin.
yeah, yeah,
You will get assuming you get a Elendil and a Sildor in it. You will get a different looking Isildur,
yeah, different
a
model.
different
Yeah,
looking Elendil.
Mm.
But other than those characters, I think having a new like orcs that match the series will just be like having Hunter orcs and Morannon orcs, and so
yeah.
they're second age orcs, aren't they?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the second age really helps you out with anything that isn't a named hero.
Mm.
And
I
there's
mean, if
not
you just look
too
at
many named heroes that cross over.
if you just look at the vast difference between Moria goblins and Gobletown goblins, they look
Yeah,
so further from each other, but yet
Yeah.
they're from the exact same area.
yeah.
And we accept that wholeheartedly, so I don't
True.
see an issue.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fine. Alex says, "Hey Devin, Damian and Steve shut me down when I wanted Megalus to come back. Now you are a good lad, Devin. Do you want Megalus to come back?"
I'm sorry, I gotta agree with Steve and Damian. I think. All right. So the argument for Megalus really stems around the absurdity of Bolg's profile,
Yes.
and I think what it is Bolg really should be more of a. I'm throwing out stats here, but like a fight 5. Something. I don't know. I'm just throwing out stats. I don't know that I'm gonna hurt you that bad, Damian. But
give him 6.
give him 6. All right, fine. 6 is good because Legolas has Elven Blades. Makes sense. But yeah, I think the reason most people cite that Megalus, because otherwise you really look at Megalus and he never really should have existed in the first place,
No.
in my opinion. I think I've heard some arguments more to give it like 3 attacks base. I can understand why the designers don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think
but I can
we
also
touched on it, didn't we, Damien? We spoke about this the other week as well, and we were saying a way for him to get to 3 attacks, not give him 3 attacks, but something like the Blade Fighter rule or something. A way for him to reach that.
You mean like many blades?
Yeah, many blades. Yeah.
Actually,
he means the Mirkwood Ranger one.
Yeah, actually, I'm literally just thinking that because now, so the Mirkwood Ranger's ability obviously came after Legolas was created, his profile, but I actually think that would be fantastic on him, only because he is a Mirkwood Ranger. He clearly is with that group. You see him with when
and it would fit the character from the movie perfectly,
yeah,
wouldn't
so
it?
that would be a cool little thing, and it'd be a nod to the fact that Tariel has it too.
Yeah.
So something like that, or that I would be totally cool with. I think that'd be
If you look at Legolas in the films, not just the Hobbit films, Lord of the Rings films, there's no point where he's a worse fighter in combat than Gimli or Boromir or Aragorn.
Yeah.
But he's not a better fighter.
Yeah.
So I think he should be able to have a third attack, but he shouldn't be 5'7".
Yeah. That's
of course, Megalus. I know Rob's watching, but Megalus was Rob. Rob Cron was the person who first coined the term Megalus. It was at Nova when we went over.
Was it?
It was just after it'd been, because they were updated in Christmas 2014, and we were over there in 2015. And I can't remember what his he had one for Thranduil as well. Like, I can't remember what it was. Like, that one didn't like catch on as much, and we just thought it was the best thing ever, and kind of went home, corned it, and then it just took over.
Just stop.
Yeah, Rob,
all I can say is, don't be sorry that it's over. Megalus is gone, but just be glad that it happened. You got your chance. Yeah, it's done.
I'd be all up for 3 attacks or the Knife Fighter rule, but
I mean,
definitely
he
not
was just
fight,
stupid good. Like, when your amazing support hero is also an absolute demon in combat, it's just that was rancid.
Yeah. Alex Kaiser says, it isn't okay to bash my Thranduil on horse. He has spanked many a model. We're only jesting. Big Chap says, do remote play with Pelennor box set. Yeah, we could do it with anything really, I suppose. Will says, anyone know the issue number of the White Dwarf that has the Witch King sat on his fell beast? The cover is a greenish tinge.
242.
What?
242.
Are you guessing?
No.
242, there you go.
Imagine if I'm right.
I'll give you some clear gummy bears. Dave says, you were going to the ETC, Devin? Question mark.
I was. Is this? Wait, who's asking this?
It's Dave Murphy, I think.
Oh, Dave Murphy. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually.
242 has a green tinge. That's all I'm saying.
So yeah. So because specifically the ETC was put in Ireland, I was using that as an excuse as a vacation because I've actually always wanted to go to Ireland. As far as bringing ETC team, that's a little harder for me to do because it relies on the perception amongst Americans, and I've heard that this is wrong. So, but the perception is that the ETC is the ultra competitive, non-fun event where everyone's pulling out every single stop to win the game. And although we regard ourselves as a competitive, well, even the competitive players in my community, we still don't like to play like that. Yes. So that's the perception. Now, I was going to come to the ETC as a judge rather than a player and just help out with judging the event. And if I had noticed, oh, hey, that's not really what it's like, then cool. Then I can tell people, because right now, like Articon, we have like 13 people who are showing up to that. But yeah, so to answer, long story short, I was showing up as a judge to the ETC.
Okay, so. Cool.
Bob's just confirmed the name for Thranduil was Thranimal.
Thranimal.
Yes, it was Thranimal. Yeah, that is.
AD says, question about your Gundabad army, Damian. Have you got and painted up all models for that army? I can't remember what your vlogs have contained. Goblin mercenaries, anti-converted troll catapults, or bats?
I've got. It's got everything that's been released except the mercenaries. I haven't painted the mercenaries. I've got a box of them. But they came out after I'd kind of finished that project.
Yeah, the nice models, they're a pig to paint now.
Yeah, I picked them up for kind of completion's sake. So that shelf there, I don't know if you can see it, the top shelf is my Gundabad army, and it's all out. So I was very much kind of, I'll just get a warband just so I've got it all.
Yeah.
But I haven't got around to them. It's not a huge project, but I'll try and do it at some point. But there's always something else in there. Yeah. And I haven't had a go at warbats or the catapult troll. I'm just patiently waiting for whenever they release them.
I'm the same. I'm just waiting, really. Yeah. Dave says, Dave Nolan said he wants to try and reschedule the ETC for between September and November. Nothing beyond that. The hotel is closed, so he can't communicate with those about it. Yeah, I suppose that's a massive problem. Communication with where you've already got things booked and you don't know what's happening. Big Chap says 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. What were we talking about?
Oh,
No.
he's talking about the. I think he's talking about 4 years ago with the cheating thing. Yeah,
All right, right. All right. Will Champions in. Welcome, Will. He says, "What up, nerds?"
Big Willie style.
Yeah. Dave says.
It's a Will Smith album.
Dave says the Irish government have made a 5-phase plan, 3 weeks each, for progressively reopening the economy and life, etc. Each stage still has lots of restrictions. Yeah, it's tough, mate. Just be patient. That's all you can do. Our health minister has said that the government may not allow international travel for the remainder of that year. It's definitely going to be on the radar for whether.
I can't see how the ETC can run. Like Nova could run without internationals. Ardacon could run without internationals. ETC is a bunch of people from different countries flying to the same place, spending a lot of time together, and then flying home. It's like, they go, can we do that? The government's going to go, no. It's like the opposite. I can't imagine how the ETC is possibly going to run. There's madness.
Destro says, I've had more experience with players making sure you're playing your best. I think that's generally a lot of the vibe. I've said it all along. I think at most events, whether it be a small independent, 10-man event or 12-man event, or Ardacon with close to 200 people, I think you get a certain percentage of people who are there to try and win and do the best that they can do at the event. But I think a majority of the people there are there to play the armies that they've put a lot of love and attention into painting over months and months, and just want to meet up, hang out, have fun, play some games of SBG, and just nerd out for a weekend. But yeah. Niels says, how did he cheat at Nova? This is going to be a reoccurring question, right? Do you want to elaborate on what the cheat was, or would you rather not?
Yeah, you know what? I think that whole situation, I think.
Yes.
We're all listening.
This whole situation.
We'll leave it. We'll leave it in the past. Let's leave it in the past.
Let's leave it in the past because I think there's parties on both sides, and then I don't want the chat thread to become a whole argument of what this was and what this wasn't. So I'm like, let's just leave it in the past.
Yeah.
Steve, this is what happens when you get controversial figures on your show.
Sorry, Steve.
Can't please everyone, Devin. You can't please everyone. Will says, Damian, I'll never forget our conversation about spooning. Is that for after the watershed, or?
I'll never forget our conversation about Would You Rather.
Oh, well, that's definitely after the watershed.
He's my bae. He's my wanderer's
Oh
bae.
man,
world champion, a league champion.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Well
won the
done.
league?
Yeah, won the league. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Classic Wanderers.
I'd clap my hands, but my razor might fall.
He's trying not to breathe. Justin's just joined us. Welcome, Justin. Good to have you, brother. He says, "Hey guys." But Big Chap says Helm's Deep Walls reissue would be nice.
They can't do that, can they? They'd have to make a new one.
Yeah,
they have to sculpt it.
I was just about to say, if they were going to do Helm's Deep, it would be a whole new model. And the problem with it, if they made it to the same scale, it would really upset me. So to make it, it'd have to be huge. There's a bit of me that would just wants them to leave it alone, and the same with Minister. Just leave it alone, because for it to look cool, it needs to be big, and I just don't think they're going to do it.
It's also really it's really specific, isn't it? So if you wanted to sell a decent helm, it's 40 quid in a day. It'd now be, if you want it bigger and it needs and everything's more expensive, it'd be like 100 quid, and then that's
At
really
least.
great if you want to play on Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
And whereas your Oscilleth Ruins are great for any game, aren't they? So I think like Devin was saying with the replay value, they want to make scenery kits that you can just whack down. And it doesn't have to be in Rohan, does it? It's just a kind of thatched building. And if you look at the Lake Town houses, you could just have them. They have them at Warhammer World, right?
Yeah,
Just put those Lake Town houses just on the boards as houses.
Yeah, they're very generic. Very generic. Alex says, give him a rule called the price of grief. If Tariel dies, he gains +1 attack.
Terror than Dynamite, wouldn't happen.
Will says, as an ETC veteran, I can say that he's are tough but incredibly fun, and 90% of the games I played were less taxing or testing than my games at Ardacon. I would recommend any player aspire to go. It's awesome. So that's good. I mean,
I believe World Champion is something like the most successful player at the ETC or something.
Is it?
He was the most there's some stat he was the most successful individual player at the ETC.
And yeah, well, I don't know about all that. I mean, as far as the guy's comment that he had made, that's what I've heard. I've talked to Jay Clare and Nick, and basically most of the players who went to the ETC, and they have all said that no, it's actually a lot of fun. It's great camaraderie. So that's where I think that the perception is incorrect in America of what kind of event it is. I think after I go there one time, we're probably looking at an American team going the next year.
Yeah, I suppose it's just the premise around it, isn't it? The thought of it, like, team GB or like Team Ireland, like Team USA. You kind of, if you don't know much about, your first thing you're going to think is, well, they're going to be like the best of the best. So if you get all the best of the best from all around the world in one room, it's going to be very competitive. But then obviously being there is a totally different kettle of fish, because it's still a game. We're still playing a game that we all want to play, and it's nice that a lot of countries have like two teams go as well. So you got A team and B team, which is cool. I suppose the more people you get there, the more fun it's going to be, because not everyone is that competitive. So yeah, who knows? Just get it. Will, if you're still watching, just confirm that. Is it open to anyone, or is it like limited to 2 teams per country? Because I've never really looked into the ETC.
It is limited to 2 teams.
Yeah,
2 teams, yeah.
Yeah, he really does have it limited to 2.
Yeah, fair enough. But where are we? Oh, it's jumped. My chat has only gone and jumped, hasn't it?
What the hell does Gimli have on his back?
And
he's always an elf cloak.
Well, he carried an elf through 3 films.
Ooh. Oh.
I'm team Leggy, but you set that up too well, Damian.
How many did you know what, Legolas? I've killed 42. How did you do? Well, I killed about 100 with the ladder, but 41. Yeah, you have it.
Tom Turtle says maybe the Dragon Knight shielding rule for Leggy keeps him alive while not pushing him into full-blown combat hero territory. What is the Dragon Knight shielding rule?
He can shield, and he can double his attacks and not strike. I mean, he can just shield.
Right. Okay. Will Pintar says, I thought Dave lived in Stockport. Yeah, he does. Dave Nolan. He does live in Stockport. Dave Murphy says, I agree, reference Legolas, give him knife fighters. And then Will says, in this thread I found that the top players, with few exceptions, are not the issue with tough games. It's the good players aspiring to be the best who are much more anal and picky. We call them tryhards. John McConnell, plastic walls for Rohan and Minas Tirith with different tops would be nice. The Renedra walls and towers, are a good model of how they could do that. I've not seen those. And then Dave says,
So I'm sorry, what did John McConnell? He was saying like the plastic Rohan towers. Is that what he wants next?
I think he's saying like add-ons. It sounds like so plastic walls for Rohan and Minas Tirith with different tops would be nice.
I thought they give you plastic walls in Rohan.
You get the Palisade.
The Rohan kit has it. Yeah.
The Palisades, yeah. I can't.
It's like a fence. It's a little fence.
Yeah, I mean, but that's exactly what Edoras had. So.
Oh yeah, but I think he means like barriers, doesn't he? I think he means like little
fences.
Walls you'd have around a field or whatever.
Well, you get those, don't you? You get those.
Yeah, but you get fences. He's asking for walls.
Yeah, you get Palisades, all right.
Yeah, all right. We got like a massive gate right around Edoras. That's I don't know what you call that. Is that a wall of Edoras?
Yeah, go on. I'll go with that.
Made a big stakes, yeah, wood.
Yeah.
And then you also get waist-high fences.
Yeah.
You call that a fence?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about here, and what John might be after, is a small wall. Now, what you do with this, you get bricks. You should know this. You get bricks, and you stack them on top of each other, and it makes it a wall.
I don't think it'll work in Rohan. I don't think it'll work in Rohan. They don't have any way. They don't have any way of getting rock and turning it into bricks. It's just not going
See,
to happen.
John, this is how much we care about you. We're spending a lot of effort on this question.
Dave Murphy says, my prediction is that Arcon Nova and the ETC won't happen this year. It'll take until next year before international travel and the world economy are back to normal or close enough to normal. I think it'll be a long while before we're back to normal, but who knows, man. Justin says, Devin, I'm able to ship your Ale the Young to you now, eh?
It's in the trade page.
Did I buy an Errol the Young? I think I probably might have. I don't know.
That's the kind of thing I would definitely do, man.
You know, I really wouldn't be surprised if I paid someone out there for something and totally forgot. All right, yeah, I'll message you, I suppose.
Yeah, he won't he won't message you, Justin. You'll have to message him.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not going to butcher this name. Meto Coelho. Good evening. John McConnell, Helm's Deep style walls that could also be converted into Minas Tirith walls. Now that's a transformer that you're asking for.
Yeah, that's I'll be honest, if they pull that off.
Yeah, Middle-earth Transformers, that'd be brilliant.
I guess what you would do is you would make like as if the wall had nothing on top, and then you have
the battlements,
the pieces, the battlement, the ramparts or whatnot.
Yeah,
that'd be the only way I could.
You'd have a house that turned into Aragorn. That's what you do, Devin. Get some emails off the Rob.
Nosy Cody's in. He says, "Hey lads, great show this evening. Devin, a pity you had to cancel your trip to Ireland. Give me a shout when you reschedule, and I can show you around Dublin." There you go.
That'd be great. Dublin and Cork were the two places I was making sure to go, so that would be awesome.
Dublin's a great place.
Yeah, it's good, but it's getting very, very, very crowded now.
Yeah.
And they're having a problem with
it. So I'm just having a look.
Steve, I'm not done.
Sorry. I was just looking through. Go on, you keep talking. You keep talking while I do this.
The population keeps doubling.
Are you talking?
You know, we don't do pun jokes as often, so it took me a minute, and I was like.
I'm just checking through the pre-fingered questions. So yeah, Damian, please do fill the space.
Do you know which country has the largest appetite?
I'm going to say it's got to be America, right? They have big portions.
Oh, if we're being realistic answers, yeah, America's easily up there. Our portion sizes are insane.
Obviously not being realistic, no.
Yeah, I thought this was another pun joke.
The answer you're after is Hungary.
Oh, well. Oh dear me,
no.
Dear. So Avery McGareham did send a question in, and we kind of covered it earlier. He was asking about what was the most gimmicky / cheesy list that you've seen or written in your meta. I feel like it's right up your alley, Devin. I mean, we spoke about the trolls, and we spoke about all the I'm getting notifications.
He means a different type of list. So one thing I'm comfortable doing in a lot of events is bringing like impossible alliances or anything that's sort of abusive. Like if you just analyze the game from the perspective of no fluff, no theme, like everything is just a bunch of stat lines.
Yeah.
You can come up with some interesting lists that just, don't make any sense from a thematic perspective. So what I did was I went to Desolation of Toronto with, it was King Elisar, Boromir the White Tower, and Elendil.
Yeah.
And so I think he wants lists like that. That's what he's referring to. So.
I mean, I rarely get to events, but if I do go to events, especially of late, when I say recent, it's like in the last 2 years, I tend to bring thematic stuff just because it's cool and that's what I like working on. I did have a phase a long time ago, I've mentioned it before, where I went with the 2 Fellbeast and Shelob thingy and Druzag and all that malarkey, and I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't do that well with it, probably because I'm not a skilled enough player to use it effectively, but I didn't do that well with it. I didn't enjoy it. And then the games that I did do well in, like I could tell that my opponent didn't enjoy it. So cheesy lists, that's probably as much as I've ever done or ever thought about. I don't really theorise like power lists or cheesy lists. I don't have time. I don't have time to theorise any list, to be honest with you. But
yeah. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like in most tournaments that I go to, my lists are a lot more thematic than that. I think you get a few exceptions. I think Middle Earth SBG, like this edition, is so well done as far as the fluffy thematic list actually being competitive.
Yeah.
And it really, when creating a competitive list nowadays, I mean, other than the oddball dropping in like Galadriel, Lady of Light, and everything, most of the lists that I win with now are pretty thematic.
Yeah, well, I mean, Legendary Legions for one are one of the things that are powerful lists, like, and they're as thematic as you're going to get.
Yeah, they basically, the new edition has made it so that not in every case, but a lot of the very competitive lists are thematic. So you don't have quite the same. You still, and anyway, you do find loopholes. They're trying to smash it with the FAQ. So you had things like Goblin Town with shades being quite prevalent in this edition, which is now isn't.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird new race to the bottom where your filthiest list becomes something that a few years ago would have been considered really weak and underpowered and thematic. We had it at Seven Stones where we always encourage people for all the years we've been running it. That's my tournament if anyone doesn't know what that is.
What is it?
It's a pretty good tournament. It's been cancelled. Alas, no marketing here. We always encourage people to take really, really fluffy lists. And then when the new edition came out, it turned out that the same fluffy lists are now really good.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, someone went, I just want to take all the riders if they're played and if charge. It was like, yeah, brilliant, no, we do that. And now you try and do that and go, what's one of the best lists in the game? So it's interesting. The top armies to play against now, I think, and I don't play anywhere near that level anymore, they generally don't look as bad, I think.
Yeah.
The armies that are really, really tough don't irk you to play thematically.
Yeah. They don't make you sigh when you get to your table and go, oh. You used to see the three Felbies. Oh.
The one that did work me up a bit over the first year of it was when you
Sauron Horde. Oh.
Yeah, you'd have your Kurdan with some high elves and then like Gildor with some exiles and Isildur leading the Numenorians and Gil-galad. I saw that kind of thing. Where I was like, I just don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
It's like, but I mean, that's because that person's playing the game for a different reason.
Yeah.
And I think Avery, to give you a little bit of, I guess this is the time where Matt would kill me if I didn't plug this a little bit, but the podcast that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode here, Top Table Gaming, the podcast, we actually are just going through list constructions and analysis. Now, admittedly, we actually went on there in one episode, and I won't go into detail, but we just tried to construct our best list that we would try to go to a tournament with. And a majority of them do come out more like thematic than not.
That is. I mean, it's a positive for the game, right? It's like Damian said. Like, even when you are getting people who are wanting to do well at an event, you're 9 times out of 10 sitting across from a nice looking army that looks thematic. Yeah. Cool. I hope that answers your question, Avery. So Carl John Daly sent in a question which is quite interesting. I think we've got two people who could probably answer it from different perspectives. So he asks about all hero armies like Thorin's Company or the Fellowship against Horde armies. Which are the most competitive and which is more fun to play? So I know Damian's played Thorin's Company a lot. I know you like your Hobbits.
So I actually find this one interesting. I think the more fun army to play is oftentimes all hero armies, and only because of the dynamics and the strategy that's involved with making them work. Whereas a Goblin Town Horde, I'm not going to say there's no thinking involved, because that's not true. There's a lot of thinking involved with Goblin Town, but I do like the challenge of trying to weasel out of situations with the all hero list. I mean, I enjoy that. I think the reason I play my Hobbits and I like them so much is just, this is going to sound weird, like they kind of like look adorable on the playing field. They have flowers, and they just, they're not an army that should be fighting, but I just love the idea of going to a battlefield with flowers and like little dogs. Like, I don't know. It's like I'm just.
And then once you've lulled them into a false sense of security, just smashing them.
Yeah, just throw 100 stones at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't my army pretty? Anyway, here's my 100 dogs. all your army's dead.
But yeah, I mean, I personally find the all-hero army is more fun to play. Now, which ones are better? I think that the way the game is designed with the scenarios, most of them are kind of advantage toward hordes. So I think if you wanted to place your bets, especially as a player who's just good or new, if you want to place your bets on an army you're going to win more often with, I think you're going to do it better with hordes.
Yeah, I agree.
Areas are just naturally favoring you.
Yeah. But you can do more. You can do more things in one turn. Your army's bigger. You can control like more objectives. You can tie up more of your enemies. So there's more you can do if you've got more models. So yeah, it makes sense.
Giving. You can take losses and make mistakes and recover from it a lot more easily.
It gives you a huge advantage in every scenario because you're harder to break. So it's not even about this. Oh, this scenario requires you to get models off. This scenario requires you to hold objectives. So numbers are important. It's every single scenario. If breaking's an issue, then having more models makes it harder to break.
Yeah, definitely.
Breaking a 100-man horde is like impossible in a 2-hour time limit. It's like really difficult.
Yeah. What about like Doran's company, Damian? Fun to play? Well, difficult to play?
I mean, they are. But like if you take the all named, if you take an all hero army that's intended for thematic, this is essentially what I said in like Ben's video, but you're doing it for the right reasons and you get really invested in it, and that is a different attitude, and both attitudes are completely fine and completely great, but that's a different attitude to taking even a thematic-y version of I don't know what it now be, Gil-galad, Isildur, Elendil, Elrond all mounted. You're probably not taking that because you love the scene in the last line.
Yes.
That's one thing they're not on horses. You're taking that because it's cool, but you also think you can win with it. And so even all hero armies have a very, very different attitude. I do think all hero armies are more fun to play with if you're doing the thematic ones like Fellowship of the Ring, because you get so invested in those heroes and you do really enjoy it. But I don't think horde armies are. I've played with like Goblin Town Army in doubles a few times in a couple of different tournaments. I don't find them fun to play with. I don't think that's fun, and that's for me, and fun's subjective. So different people get their fun in different ways. You find all sorts of sites on the internet to show you that. And like that just to me, just moving hundreds of bloody models forward, and then just overwhelm them isn't fun for me. But you can then swap it around. So I know at Warhammer World Doubles last year, I think Tom Pickard and Dan Entwistle took Goblin Town, and it was a doubles tournament, and they took it for a laugh, and they weren't trying to win. They just wanted a stupid amount of goblins, and they made this beautiful display board. And I kind of feel almost bad saying this, but I remember at the end they were quite upset because I don't think they got any favourite game votes, despite being lovely guys playing in a wonderful way, because the army's fundamentally not fun to play with. Even if you're lovely, chopping your way through hundreds of goblins isn't fun. So,
actually, I have a first-hand experience with that. I played Sauron in a horde. I played against Stephen Crow.
Yes.
At the end of the tournament, I had no favorite game votes. None.
I wonder why. We still had a lot of fun. We still had a lot of fun in that game. I got absolutely smashed. I just didn't know what to do against Sauron with what I had. I was like, I don't know what.
You get 2 votes, Steve, don't you? You had a lot of fun, but only the third most fun you had at the event.
Yeah, only the third.
It is your army. It doesn't matter how nice you are. If you take something utterly rancid, you're very, very unlikely to get favourite game votes or make it fun for your opponent. Now, fun for your opponent and fun for you are 2 different things as well. So.
Yeah. And it's like you say, like people want different things and play for different things. You come across opponents. I'm quite chatty when I play, so I'll talk to someone and not necessarily just about the game. I'll try and have a bit of a laugh. You get some people who are like really open up to that and join in, but you also get people who are really focused on the game and want to play, and it's fine. And sometimes I think that just because I'm chatting away, that annoys people. But I've got that kind of personality where as soon as I work that out, I just carry on doing it. So apologies anyone who's been annoyed when they play.
I mean, the fact that you do about 4 live streams a week kind of does back that up, doesn't it?
I like people. I'm stuck in. It's, the thing. Well, I was going to say I'm drinking less. I'm not going to the pub, but that's not true because I'm just buying more alcohol. I'm not drinking less. I keep buying. I'll go to the shop for milk, get 1 bottle of milk and 5 bottles of beer.
I don't know what you're doing, but I'm on the soft tonight.
Oh,
I can't have another lock-in with Steve.
Yeah, I'm on Lucozade tonight. Lucozade.
Just drinking water.
Do you live in 1985, Devin? Like he's sat there with his Motorola Razr and he's drinking water out of a carton. It's like he's just gone and got it from a well.
In a couple of years, Devin, in the late 80s, these 2-litre bottles of pop are going to arrive, and it's going to change the world.
Right, I'm going to jump back into the chat. I'm going to try and find where are we? Knowles is we've done. Dave says terrible joke, Damian. The hungry joke, I'm assuming. Terrible. Alex Kaiser says on the DCHL YouTube page it states, quote, I am building more content each month. Hold it there. That's a hilarious joke, Devin.
Where on the page? Does he mean the website that I stopped updating?
It must be it says the DCHL YouTube. So it's the DCHL YouTube page.
Oh man, yeah, I probably had it on there.
Yeah. When was the last time you logged into YouTube, Devin?
I've had to not look at. You know what's weird? I haven't posted a video in a year, and my subscriber count still goes up.
Yeah.
I haven't posted anything. But
it's because I keep sending people there, Devin.
Is that what it is? There you go. I appreciate you, Steve. You know what? Just in case you just saw it signing in, there's the goal is to have something up soon. This coronavirus is making it worse. Certain people are helping me now with the channel, and they're like, "Hey, if I post content, would you be cool with that?" And I'm like, "Yes." I can't do this channel by
Please
myself
do.
Yeah.
Devin.
So it's coming.
Devin. And I quote, I am building more content each month as I continue to learn the new factions from the latest updates. So stay tuned for more strategy and advice.
Stay tuned. There's been people sat there for 18 months, Devin.
So tuned.
Bated breath.
You know what? If you make some more content, or I do Plan 100 first.
Yeah, exactly, right? John McConnell has actually been really pushing me. I think he saw me kind of get burned out where I had to stop, and he's been really pushing me. He's like, hey, you know, Nova signups are about to happen in a week. You want to put a video up about it? Post anything? and I know I should. I really should. It's a lot of editing. Like I said, I mean, anyone who's done a YouTube channel knows, like, it's
tough.
It's a lot of work. So.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I mean, that's why it was with Top Table when we took Ben on. It was like a massive help because Ben's quite industrious. He sets himself goals and he's quite good at making sure he reaches them goals. It's just it's been a breath of fresh air really. It's been great because it's just took a lot of pressure off us from doing it. Because you'll know yourself. Like sometimes you could go a month where you're really sort of energized. And you want to make more content, and you've got all these ideas, and you want to do it, and then you could have a month where it's tough to motivate yourself to get off your backside and turn a camera on and do something. And ideas is the hardest thing. Coming up with ideas that are fresh and are going to keep people interested is really difficult. I'm trying
not to let people down, so that way what I'm doing is actually some of the videos are already uploaded. And they're just scheduled. Currently, they're scheduled like a month and a half out or something.
And is it the same? Is it the same channel? Is it same YouTube channel?
Yeah. So the same channel. It's just being revived with 2 different series. One of them is me and basically I'm talking about like top 5 this, top 5 that. Just my own opinion. And then the other one is a podcast with those 4 or 5 players who are talking about different lists. And it's actually not just that. We're actually bringing in guests to talk about other little different things, but. That's essentially, but I'm not running that part.
Yeah.
Tim Hines is running that part with a lot of help from Matt Iverson.
Yeah.
And Mick,
Awesome.
Mick from the GBHL.
Yeah. Mick's great guy. He's very knowledgeable. But yeah, I look forward to it. I mean, I doubt there is, but if there's anyone watching on YouTube or watching on the Facebook group, do you want to give your channel a shout out? Tell them what it's called, what to search for on YouTube. Devin.
Oh, me. Oh, like I'm sorry. You want me to shout out other channels?
Yeah, we're on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook page, so I think they know about the GBHL podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's the DC Hobbit League YouTube channel. I mean, other than that, there's a couple smaller groups in our area. I think it's the South Carolina group. They have content that they post, and then
Yeah. There was someone today who I subscribed to today who's American. Can't remember what it was called. They're only small and quite new. I can't remember what they were called, but yeah, there is a few American ones.
There are a few of them, and
yeah.
I admittedly have not seen those yet. I watch, if I'm in the car driving and I like listen to a podcast or something. There's Zorp. I'm not a big fan of bat reps, so I don't see like some channels as much. But
yeah, it's nice to know all that effort I put in. It's going to good use, Devin. Thanks for that, mate.
Yeah. So the less effort you put into it, Steve, the more I'm going to watch.
Yeah. Where are we? Chris James says, could we get some siege weapons for those armies that don't have any if siege battles become more common? It's a possibility.
What siege weapons don't exist yet? Like, I'm trying to...
I think he means like faction specific, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Hickory bloom thing doesn't exist yet. We could.
The what?
The hickory bloom thing.
I think because there's not every faction's got a siege weapon. I think that's kind of what he's implying. Like get more factions that have access. But I think it's all right how it is.
I actually like the scarcity of siege weapons. I think that you can turn the game into something you really don't want if you get way too many siege weapons and every battle starts off with you getting just bombarded from the other end of the field.
Yeah.
I think there are some siege weapons that should exist that don't. Like, so for instance, I think it's absurd that like Dale doesn't have a wind lance.
Yeah.
Should have a wind lance. Like, it's clearly a weapon they use.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't think of any faction I think that needs a siege weapon that doesn't have one. Like they're like there's a siege weapon that's missing.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's one. Is there an elf one in Legions of Middle Earth? I know there's a chariot. Was there an elf bolter?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of glad that an elven chariot.
Yeah, elven chariot.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick Gardner's like screaming in the comments section. But the elven chariot didn't really. All right, if there was an elven chariot, it should be high elves only. But I'm really not feeling an elven chariot. There was a catapult, I think, though. I think there was an elven.
Was there? Yeah, it was that long ago since I looked at that book. I can't remember.
Damian's coming.
There he is. There he is.
Other than that, though,
he's coming. Yeah, I don't think there's like a massive void, is there, where people are thinking, oh yeah, do you know what this faction needs? I think it'd be nice. Siege catapult for elves.
What?
Galacrum siege catapult.
Yeah.
Nick would be all over that. They could have enchanted ammunition.
Ooh, what does that do?
Alone, they should have a catapult.
I don't think it had a rule. It's legal.
There's no rule.
Oh, right.
They just put out the points values of like teasers for different things that they said they were.
They didn't have the chariot.
Which we already know the Middle Earth team is not even following because Dunlendings just came out and they didn't come out with the Dunlending Royal Bloods or the Berserkers.
Yeah, Berserkers on Dunland would have been awesome, right?
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I actually think it would have been appropriate too.
Yeah.
Eregion, so it's the second age list. You could have Celebrimbor, and that had the Elf Chariot and the Elf War Catapult.
It feels a little more right with the Grey Havens, like Celebrimbor and the Grey. Like that feels a little bit more correct. I mean, I'm not saying I know the aesthetics of them, but they don't seem like a tree-dwelling nation. It seems like more of a.
It's not mad, is it? You know, the elves laid siege to Barad-dûr for a decade. Like.
Yeah, but what does laying siege mean? Like, to lay siege, do you have to hit it with siege weapons, or can you just surround and?
You can just surround it and wait for them to starve to death.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's a viable siege tactic.
Yeah,
But
standard
I
siege
think,
tactic.
surely for your own entertainment, you'd like to hit it with a few siege weapons, wouldn't you? Like,
Yeah,
you're
true.
just, imagine what, it's
An
essentially
enchanted
lockdown.
weapon would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially what we're doing now. But and you know, we've all got to try and occupy ourselves. So imagine you've laid siege to a castle, you've got nothing else to do. Why wouldn't you build a catapult and look some just purely entertainment.
All right, fair enough.
I wouldn't be against more siege weapons in the game, but it's not something that I specifically think it needs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But James Long, the beautiful man, is in, and he says, "Hey Buttes, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you, or hear you, or read you." My mouse keeps going doolally for some reason. Where are we?
Oh, actually, one siege weapon I do want to see.
Oh, there he
Only
goes.
because I found it just interesting is the Mangler and the Bonebreaker.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I would have liked to see those two siege weapons. I mean, yeah, granted, you're not hitting a wall with them, but that would have been great. Like, you win a combat in a certain radius of them, you could throw them into the Mangler or the Bonebreaker.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You'd have to have a special rule called bring them up. They wouldn't be on the be on the board, and then you could say bring up the Mangler, bring up the Bonebreaker.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
She probably these days do quite a good impression. In tragic fat news.
That's a good shout, that, actually, Devin. I like that. Destro says, don't forget to like everybody. Yeah, like everybody. Like the...
That's just good advice for life.
Sean Arathun says, hi, lads. Really enjoying the chat. Thanks. Thanks for watching, brother. And James Long says, any ideas for 500-point list to rival Rangers' dominance?
I would say Salman and 15 Cremate.
Yeah, they only hit them on
I think that would be. I think actually you're proving the meta's broken, Damian. As soon as you bought those Creban, I don't think anyone should host any tournament but like below 600 at this point.
You know what? It's not necessarily the maddest idea in the world. That would, they couldn't shoot it. It would soak up a lot of bow fire with the 4 wounds.
4 wounds. You can only hit them on a natural. Is it a natural 6 with bows, right?
Yeah, you can only hit them on a natural 6.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, shooting, but then the Rangers would just slaughter them in close combat. So.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I mean, in my mind, the Rangers of Ithilien Legion is one of those that they had to make, but hesitantly, I wonder if they should have. I worry about lists where that, are all shooting, just wipe your opponent off the board before you even arrive kind of armies, which is really what that is, with the fundamental weakness of not having really much more than Faramir to work with. Yeah, I mean, freaking.
I mean, the thing is, they've got to be in the game, right? Because they're part of the history and stuff. Yeah. And as frustrating as they are, I think the rules suit what they should be doing.
This is the reason, though. A lot of people say Mirkwood Rangers need to be cheapened, and I actually argue no. Do not cheapen those, because yes, are they overcosted 100%? But I think they're taking into account the fact that if they were to be cheaper, you would have hundreds of them, and it just, well, not hundreds. I mean, in all littleness, it just would be a much more effective army because your numbers would be bolstered with what you would need to deal with in close combat.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, not having spears is a problem-ish, but. I mean, is it just so I'm understanding this question? Is it like to fight against them, or is it like the next 500-point army to dominate the meta? Is that to beat them?
Yeah, to rival Rangers' dominance. He says 500 points.
An existing faction? Oh man, I'd have to.
I think it's tough. I think at every points level, you're going to get something that kind of sticks out and fits that points level very well.
I mean, realistically, I think if you're building against Rangers, it's actually fairly easy to beat them, right? Like an anti-shooting thing with, hell, Iron Hills Dwarves. I mean, I'm not sure 100% you would bring
high defense, yeah.
Yeah, it's a high defense with a ballista, maybe not even bringing Dane. I think the Rangers would have incredibly tough time cracking through them, even in close combat. It's just my thought. I don't know how many. I'd have to do the math on how many Iron Hills Dwarves you get, but let's say at 500 points, you're getting at least 20.
Yeah.
I think you would do fairly well with that, and I think even Faramir wouldn't do a lot to them.
Sure,
No.
you get a lot
Damian-
more now, wouldn't you? If you're not taking
I'm sure you would. I just am throwing out some rough because I'm thinking like, all right, you have 90-point captains.
He probably did the math on his razor, Damian.
Yeah. This calculator on here is a little messed up. I'm sure you get more than that. But I mean, I'm thinking like 500 points, and kind of a small point match. But you know, if you're list tailoring against the Rangers, I think beating them is pretty standard. I think the
Yeah.
issue is that
It's the other games. It's the other games you're gonna play.
You have won't win against others.
Yeah. It's the other games you got to worry about. Yeah.
Wow.
Josh Devoy says hi. How you doing, Josh? Good to have you in, pal. Chris James, Elvish Siege Weapons? Question mark. If that, you're saying that as if to say, what the heck is this? What's coming next? No, this is things we were talking about from a very old supplement.
Oh yeah, Chris James actually, he's in the American community, and
okay.
He's new. He's a new player, so he doesn't know about the Legions of Middle Earth. So for those new players, watching,
don't worry, don't worry.
Yeah, this is not happening. Damian has an early copy of the Legions.
Yeah.
Big week.
It's not due out for another 15 years.
Yeah, you heard it here first on Top Table Gaming.
Destro says not every faction has banners either. No, this is true. This is true, and I'm sure there's a method to the madness of this.
So Chris James is new and he's in America.
Yeah, he's a newer player in America. He actually is in Maryland.
I think that very nice man has picked up some of our magazines. Thank you, Chris. It's nice to half meet you on the internet. You got the last couple of magazines in like a few months ago.
Cool. Someone did actually mention the magazines, didn't they, Damian, to Devin, but then Devin didn't think to put it.
Actually, I told Damian about this. I was gonna ask him as a surprise, and I didn't think that
Happy birthday.
I wasn't sure. So Damian doesn't say a lot, but you know.
Oh, he does. He never shuts up.
You say I creep around.
I'm just messing with
you. Think Grima on acid.
There's a picture that he keeps calling the King of the Dead. It's really just Damian.
I don't know why. That was just a bad day. Everyone kept taking photos of me.
Also, SBG magazine, Damian, for anyone who's in the chat, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Do you want to give them a quick pitch?
Like,
sure.
how do you pay for it?
How do I pay?
You don't pay for it. You say next deal was the SBG magazine is a project that me and Tom Harrison launched about.
Some other guy.
Some other guy. It's a fanzine. I'll have to unplug. So I should grab one, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Get it on camera. Get it on camera.
Yeah. Actually, Damian, you released the newest one already, right? The Men of the Dead one.
He did. Oh, he didn't have his ear. Yeah.
He didn't hear me. You released the newest one, right? The Men of the Dead.
The Only Dead. No. That's issue 10. It's not out. But before issue 10, is Devin frozen or is he very still?
No,
I'm trying to make sure.
He's trying. When you were talking for about 10 minutes earlier, Damian, and I swear to God, I think Devin stopped breathing for a minute. He's trying not to move so the razor don't fall over. That's what it is.
No, 10 we'll get to unreleased.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, go ahead. So go ahead. Pitch the SBG.
This is
terrible.
SBG magazine. Me and Tom launched this about 6 or 7 years ago now. And it's a kind of fanzine. It's A4. It's full colour. It's all about SBG. It's all like it's kind of meant to be emulating White Dwarf from the 90s. So we get painting guides. We get the one and only. He's in the chat. It's James Long.
Hey.
There's James Long thinking. Like battle reports and editorial articles and all sorts of things like that. So there's quite a good list. This is issue 8. Actually, quite pertinent for tonight. You got an article from Mick talking about the power of all hero armies. So it's very, very kind of intensive, maths-driven kind of side of things, and lots of other bits and bobs. So yeah, we've been doing it for 6 years. We try and release about 2 a year. Is our average. and it's meant to put a bit of the tagline's always a Middle Earth fanzine by the fans for the fans. And there is there's some other content out there. I'd love to make one a month, but it's just unfeasible. So a couple of times a year we put out what is hopefully a very enjoyable piece of juicy hobby content.
Very cool.
That
Very
you can
cool.
sit down and read, have a cup of tea and read. That's what I've always preferred, like magazines to watching battle reports and stuff. So my hope is that
again, that's both guests now. Slate my battle reports. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Your battle reports are slightly more enjoyable than most battle reports. So. My hope is that in the years to come, I'll forget that I wrote it and I'll be able to read it for pleasure. Essentially, that's the dream. Yeah, so we've got 9 out, and 10 was due to come out at 7 Stones. It was really, me and Tom kind of raised the virtual glass because last Monday, a week ago, was the print deadline for issue 10, and we were suddenly like, oh, it should be done now. It should be finished and going off, and it's not because we're we've let it slip a bit because we obviously can't release it. We haven't got any events, but it's in really good shape and it's nearly done. And it's our 10th issue kind of celebration, so we've got a lot of kind of big silly articles, like
big names coming on. Some big names
huge
in there.
Names, yeah, huge names, huge streamers in there. And we've got the biggest battle report we've ever done. We've got the Pell in the Fields battle report, and it's 730 models, I think it is, 10 mimics, and it's 13,000 points in total.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The points value, it's awesome.
Yeah, and how
that's issue 10.
How do they get these issues, Damian?
The simplest thing, if you just drop us an email on sbgmagazine@gmail.com, and then we'll get back to you. We are still we've got a little note on our auto response now about COVID-19 where we couldn't post out for a while because the post office weren't letting us ship internationally, but they are now, so we're up to date. Everyone who's ordered now, I just did a batch a couple of days ago. So they're all out in the world, so we're up to date. So it means if you do get in touch with us, we should hopefully we'll be in touch very soon, and we can post you out some juicy hobby lockdown reading if you like.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe someone impartial could say it was good.
I like them.
Honestly, no. I mean, in all reals, I mean, the SBG magazine is easily one of the best pieces of content that we have for this this game. And actually, I'm really, really glad that it is going to sound weird, but I'm glad that GW does not try to re-release any magazines. I don't know. I feel like the way that you guys have been doing it, like, far exceeds any expectation I would have thought from a fanzine. So I just would love to see that continue.
It's very well done, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very kind.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of it available. Like if you just Google it or something, there's loads of videos. People have done reviews on it. The OHF have done loads of reviews. What's the German one? What is that?
The Tabletop Liga thing, I guess.
Yeah, they had the IHL. That's the Irish.
Yeah. That's the Irish. Mittelerd or something. Mittelerd something.
The German acronym's got an I in it, but there's like a 3-letter thing. But they've done reviews in German, and I don't speak German. And everyone goes, "Wunderbar." Loads in Swedish. It's very, very surreal when you see much people talking about your thing and the language you don't understand.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's cool. It's good fun.
Good stuff. So yeah, get over. So if you send sbgmagazine@gmail.com an email, they will hook you up imminently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fly through these because we're actually done 2.5 hours, which is longer than I expected us to do. So I'm going to fly through.
Enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, man. I'm going to.
Oh, actually, just so his comment doesn't get forgotten, real fast. Destra said not every faction has banners either, and I do agree that I think what he's getting at is that some scenarios have banner requirements, and that not everyone can access it. So I do agree that probably should be fixed. Just wanted to touch on that before he's like, oh no, you guys didn't even answer it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Justin says, yes, there is a Lorien catapult. He also says, should not Erebor / Army of Thor have the option of a wind lance as well? If my lore is correct, the wind lance was a dwarven weapon that Dale has as well.
Yeah, it was. He's actually correct. I actually do agree with the Erebor dwarves having a wind lance as well, because Dale just bought them. That's really all they did. They didn't even have they just the only reason I say that is Games Workshop right now seems to be on more of a method of only producing what was put in the films.
Yes.
And so, although it's obvious that it's an airborne weapon, because we didn't see it, I wouldn't be surprised if we never get it. But we did see a Dalewind lance, and the model exists.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, okay. But yes, I agree. Airborne should have it as well.
Yeah, totally. So we have a comment from an Australian YouTuber, Mr. Lachlan John Linton Keane.
Do not believe it.
Yeah, he's in. He's finally come in.
Locking.
Yeah, he says Rangers of Athelion is awful, utterly broken below 400 points.
Some Corain on it, mate. You're laughing.
Yeah. They're an army that's not fun in my opinion. I don't like the way that they win.
Yeah.
Through sheer weight of dice. I mean, if you get a really lucky roll, which luck happens sometimes in a game, you just get totally obliterated by them.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they carry themselves.
They have a swagger that's just it's unbecoming. Yeah.
I like their clothes.
When you sit down on the lounger next to them, they're always like. I like it. It's entitled as well.
Justin says, what are your thoughts on the assault on Helm's Deep Isengard Legendary Legion?
All right, so this is a gem. They are amazing. They are. Oh my god, I had to fight. I went to the Warhammer World GT fighting against these things. My first introduction to them was Jacob Hall, another American player, playing them at Shadow in the East, which is a tournament Matt Iverson runs. They are so brutal. And like that Legion, it looks like, oh, you have no name characters with no strike. I mean, you are stuck between needing to advance as fast as possible because these ballistas are firing on you, and then showing up and having to dodge a bomb. And it's just it's actually a pretty brutal Legion. So it doesn't look like it, but when you play against it one day, it's a really brutal.
It's a blunt instrument, yeah.
I took it to the GT and had, I don't play competitively anymore. I took him because it was an opposing force thematically for what I had, and I came fourth.
Yeah.
It's like I did far better this year at the GT than I've ever done when I was trying to do it. They did look at me, to be fair. They lost me a game. It was my all mounted thematic ride out of Helm's Deep Heroes Yellow Alliance army that won all three.
Disgusting army, man.
But yeah, they are. I mean, it's walking into two of those ballistas.
Yeah.
Re-rolling it's just hilarious because you're gonna hit every turn. You're gonna hit.
Yeah. I bought a second ballista because of stuff you were saying about it. Made me buy it a second one.
You got to have two in that Legion. Like, I mean, at 800 points,
so cheap. It's so cheap as well. It's so cheap.
Points.
It's crazy.
It's the same. It's the same as my rationale for Feral back in the day was I went to Throne of Skulls. I think it was 1,000 points at the time, and I had like a warband or everything. And I came out of that tournament going, I could swap my Wild Riders for Ferals. That'd be better. Yeah. I could swap my Scouts for Ferals. That'd be better. I could swap my Shields for Ferals. That'd be better. And it's quite like that. If you think of anything in that Legion that's worth 65 points, but you can swap for a ballista, it's better. You need some dudes, but it's like, I could have a third captain and some might.
Another ballista. Lachlan then follows up and says, should have blended it with a Defenders of Asciliath list with a 50% bow limit, or at least made Frodo, Sam and Gollum must-takes. Pure bows is an awful play experience for all involved at high model count.
I actually think it might get worse. I don't know. I saw those new heroes come out and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be broken at 700 or 800 and below. Or who knows?
I like the idea of the Frodo, Sam, Gollum thing, or maybe two of the three you need to have in your list.
I think they should all three be required. I think that eases up the list quite a bit because the points requirement on those guys alone are like, what, 100 and something, I think, just to get those in. Frodo's, I think, 60, right?
That does then make it... The only problem with that is it does then make it Faramir's Rangers at one specific moment in time. And I know a lot of Legions are like that, but if I think Steve said earlier, the idea of Faramir's Rangers is a big part of the fluff. That there are just Rangers defending them, and they don't always have like 2.5 midgets with them. There's a kind of thing on that. But I would go down your route and say go with the thematic one. That it's that It's when they attack the mummakill. That's your lesion.
Yeah.
You know, or at least just somehow mitigate their play experience. I'm not saying do this, but like, you know, somehow mitigate the shooting by making it where like they all have to deploy a maelstrom that represents the ambush, and always, no matter the mission. So I'm not saying do that, but I'm just saying like somehow make it, or like the ambush rule, where, you know, you take the ambush rule and like a couple warbands have to do that, and therefore it takes the shooting off the table for a few turns. So you can do little tricky things like that, and stop the shooting problem.
Yeah, just have a busy table.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean, like, because they're just like kind of all over the place?
Have a lot of terrain.
Oh yeah. So just stop, you know, Articon tables. They're gonna be.
Do you know any events, Steve? Do you know any events with very busy tables?
I don't know. October time, I think there might be one. End of October-ish.
I think October in England, maybe August in America.
Yeah.
Pretty busy tables for you. For those of you who hate Athelian Rangers, come to Nova. They'll suck.
Yeah. Just stand behind Bayon's house. Chris James says thanks. Yes. I think he was just pointing out. He was asking, and we were confirming that you're not to worry about chariots. Will says, how much are the magazines and how many back issues do you have hold of?
Hey, there is no way Chris James has just said thanks to you for telling him not to worry about chariots.
Yeah, I think.
No, remember, we're seeing a lag though.
Yeah,
you said it earlier.
God, Steve's gone. Don't worry about the chariot. I was going to pieces here.
I heard the sigh from here. Yeah, Will, if you drop Damian and Tom an email at sbgmagazine@gmail.com, they'll sort you out and let you know all the info that you need. Justin confirms SBG Magazine is awesome. Dave says they're all right, I suppose. Deeds paints things. Thanks for the chat, chaps. Catch you on the next stream. Thanks for joining us, pal. Hopefully catch you soon. Chris James says it's a great magazine. And Will says make a maximum limit of Ranger models allowed to be taken, but then you might not hit the points level that you're playing.
Yeah, that's the problem with. Well, I mean, I guess you could hit the points if you just fill out with the Asciliath veterans.
You can take vets, right?
But vets are models that are not available, though. That's the other problem. Then.
It's an inelegant way to solve the problem. I just honestly, I'm not sure. I think 50% would have been maybe more appropriate, but I get why they did 100%.
Yeah, well, it's right. The Rangers, aren't they? That's their thing. Bows, right?
Yeah. It's the same as the Golden Town and Hobbit thing. It's tough because there are certain armies that you want to have all bows. Like Rangers, they all have bows, and you want an army of them. Mirkwood Rangers, they all have bows, and you want to be able to do an army of them. But then it makes it unfun, and it's like you want to be able to take an army of Goblin Town, but it's not fun because the game does give those armies a disproportionate advantage, and it's not the player's fault. If you really like the Goblin Town scene, you want to collect that. It's not your fault that your army's better, but the game does favour larger armies, and it favours lots and lots of shooting.
Yeah.
So if you, I don't really know what the answer is.
Yeah.
To either thing, I don't know what the solution is.
It's a tough one.
Allowing those armies in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the way it is now might be the lesser of two evils. You know, obviously they test these things pre-release.
That's Aragorn when he becomes king, isn't it?
What's that? Why are you taking me saves, Dave?
Look out for
that. Will saying as in a percentage maximum percentage limit of Ranger models allowed to be taken. Yeah, possible. Lachlan says, Devin, any chance we'll hear the dulcet tones of DCHL Cole anytime soon? So he's not interested in you, Devin.
He's not. Good old Cole.
Cole. Tonight on the stream, like, are you going?
Are you hanging around? Are you going to hang around?
He was coming over, but then he saw the phone I had, and he's like, I don't want to hang out with anyone. It's not cool, dude. All right, so Cole, so for those who don't know, I got a couple episodes of Second Breakfast, which was the channel that Cole was doing, which I loved, because he did an analysis, a really in-depth analysis of like a single thing. and he was really analytical about how he went about it. And I love the episode series, but he went to college, and I never heard from him again. So that was he went to college in
Did he
Maine.
really go to college though? Devin, I can't speak to you no more. I've got to. I'm going to college. Oh dear.
I mean, I could probably reach out to him, but I mean,
I wouldn't bother, mate.
I don't think he wants it, though.
He's not. He is not. I think he's not played a single game of SBG since the episode. So I mean, not that he was
do
mad
you
at
rescind his DCHL title? Like, how can it? Mate, what if he's off trading off that?
He's still paying his monthly dues for the title. Oh, okay, no,
X amount of time, you're not allowed to use that at public appearances.
Yeah, if I don't see him by next year, I'm deleting all his videos. Instead of anger.
And you're right to.
But yeah, no. So unfortunately, no. I mean, long story short.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah. Just text him. You get a text back saying still at college.
Might bring. Actually, another one that I don't know that I'll bring back only because I could never figure out a way to do it without controversy in some ways was that guy. That's another one where, so I think we'll bring him back either. Not
sure. Will says, I didn't realise this, and I've just spent a fortune on Rangers and Minas Tirith. Haven't we all, my friend? Haven't we all? Will's for a new player. Will is amassing a tidy number of armies.
Is that Will Pintar?
Yeah, Pintar. Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I haven't been looking at chat, so I don't
know. Justin says it's okay. We'll forgive you. And then Lachlan says, "I love you too, Devin. No, don't listen to these. Beep. Second breakfast forever. Devin clearly murdered him." He's gone to college or something. Ignore the mound of soil in my backyard.
See, that's the secret, guys. When you kill someone, you have to get a Razor phone because if you have one of these smartphones, the FBI will catch.
That's why he's got it, so he can't be tracked. That's what it is. No GPS. There's no GPS on a Razor. Oh jeez. Well, that has nicely and conveniently we've got to the end of the chat, and I've had a great 2 hours 45 minutes. It's been fantastic. Thank you everyone who tuned in, but I think we'll call it there. Thanks Devin, thanks Damian.
It was a pleasure.
And hopefully we'll get you guys on again soon. And thank you everyone. Take care and do share the video, share this video, share the link for the Facebook, because I've not done this before where I've streamed in on the two platforms, Facebook and YouTube. So if it's working well and people prefer to watch through Facebook, I know people prefer YouTube, some people prefer one over the other, I'll carry on doing it too. It's a bit of a pain, but
well, this is streaming on both simultaneously, is it?
Yeah, it's on GBHL and on YouTube. So do give us a bit of feedback, guys, and let us know. And we'll see you in the next Speak Friend, which I will be announcing in a few days. But hopefully we'll get these two guys back on soon. So take care, guys, and I will see you all soon.